A lot of people can't hear it. Oh yeah. See? It's saying they can't. Oh. All right. All right. Welcome back to another episode of On the Throne with Dick. And shout out to Sanjin Boychuk for that amazing intro outro music. Sorry if I seemed a little distracted there when I was, listening to the music, but it didn't work on Instagram. So it showed up here. There's an error. So whatever, it is what it is. And next time, I guess we'll go to Instagram, but we're still live streaming the podcast today on YouTube and Facebook. So that's something.
Sweet. Yeah,
man. Yeah, and hey, with me this week on the podcast is special guest TopherOlive. What's going on, buddy?
Not much. How are you?
Oh, buddy, just getting off work. I'm 4 days into her, back from days off. So, just getting back into the swing of things. And yeah, man, it was a rough couple days. My birthday was on Sunday, and I'm 35 now. So, over the last few days, I'm feeling it in my knees. I'm feeling it in my back, and we're...
Yeah, you're feeling that 168-hour shift,
Oh, yeah. Hey, 168-hour unpaid shift in the dark.
Uphill, backwards, both ways. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, yeah. Oh, we got someone coming in there on Facebook. Mark Phillips says, hey, what's going on? Millsy said, what's cracking, man? So,
what up, Mark?
Yeah. Did you know Mark Phillips?
I don't know.
Oh.
Nice.
Now
I do.
Nice. There you go. Now we know Mark. How's it going with you, buddy?
I've been going good. Yeah, just making a ton of content and kind of trying to grow my page and push different apps like Instagram and probably getting to YouTube a little more. So yeah, just starting to diverse. I feel like I'm starting to get the hang of the whole social media thing. Yeah, so I never thought it would end up kind of where it is, which is kind of funny. So.
Yeah, we were just talking about that, actually. I was like, man, I've never actually seen like you at work before in your content, right? And I was like, wait, because we have a mutual, actually. What's up, Dope and Tape? We have a mutual, actually. Jesse Demler knows you, right?
Oh, yep, yeah, the Mason, yeah.
Yeah, and that's and I'm like, man, what does that guy do? And he's like, I'm pretty sure he like lifts shit up and puts it down. And it's like, oh shit, right?
Yeah, that's kind of one of the sides about me. A lot of people don't know is I compete in strongman. So like, the strongman competitions, like you've probably seen World's Strongest Man or some of those clips where
I'm looking at him right now.
Yeah, Atlas Stones and log press, and so I'm pursuing my pro card in that. So that's kind of my other passion is. And then I used to do masonry, which we were talking about. That's kind of where I got a lot of my blue collar humor, skit ideas and just characters in general. You work with people that are just like you can't believe they're real type of thing.
Yeah.
And then grew up in a blue collar family. My dad, was a timber cutter, so I was surrounded by all those types of guys, and worked in a small family business. So it was a parts store, so you got to see a lot of different people every day.
That's a lot of fun, actually, man. Like it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's very interesting to grow up in a town with 1,200 people. You've definitely kind of been immersed in that lifestyle. Like I was just talking to my girlfriend today about how like if you heard if someone was a dentist or a lawyer, it was like very, very like high up. Like it was like you couldn't think of someone doing that, and then you kind of get out in the world and you're like, oh, okay, But yeah, you're used to people. It's like, oh, I dig ditches. You're like, oh, wow.
We were when we were talking there. You're like, you've actually left like work behind to you're one of the I guess growing number of people that have found themselves on social media, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, yada yada yada, and you've actually been able to put your career aside to pursue content full time, and that's huge, man. That's you're your own boss. You're dictating your own hours. You're grinding for yourself essentially. So
yeah, it's a very interesting realm that I found myself in. Like I started in college kind of as really for a class. It was like a theater class, and you kind of had to make some sort of play. So I kind of made my own skit and just kind of started from square one, 0 followers. And then just over the few years that I've done it, just continually built and built. And it wasn't until TikTok kind of started to compete with YouTube and other platforms to get you paid properly. Because before it was like, you'd get 5 million views and get like $60. So it was like, it used to be horrible. But now it's pretty competitive, like with YouTube. So it's definitely nice to be, rewarded for the content you put out. And it's nice. You get to, kind of dictate your own hours. And it's a lot of freedom that frees up your day.
I'm Canadian. I don't get paid. So I'm here for free. I'm just here having a good time.
It's funny how you say that. I had a friend from Canada, and he worked at a department in a nuclear energy plant. And he's like, dude, I'm struggling. I make like 160,000 a year. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, 160,000 in US is like really good. But up there, like, because of the taxes and I'm not from Canada, so you could probably tell me more about that.
Yeah, man. We're pretty highly taxed. $100,000 a year job used to be mint, right? And now it's like, well, shit. We're barely getting by on that now, right? And that's crazy, man. You know what I mean? I think we're approaching like 50% tax or some shit. Like it's insane. It's insane.
Yeah,
and then,
that's crazy because that here in America, that's like you're 40-some% if you're making a million, but to be that at just a normal kind of middle wage type of person is crazy. That's crazy.
Well, we got carbon taxes, right? That which has gone up twice a year, or it seems maybe more. It's about to go up again. It just went up like a couple months ago or a month ago. It's going up again in April. So it's a carbon tax. They just introduced the second tier to the CPP, which is the Canada Pension Plan. Which I work in the oil field. So by April, May, I've paid up my CPP for the year, right? Because most jobs it's like you're paying in all year long, but I work so many hours, 168-hour unpaid shift, boy, and so I work all them hours and I pay up my CPP by April, May. Well, now the second tier starts at if you make it to 72 grand, you enter the second tier. They're gonna start taking it again. Right. And it's like, oh, okay, cool. So a lot of people be living in tents up here the last couple of years. The city I live in, a couple big tent cities nearby my house. And it feels like their goal is to have us all living in a tent here soon. So.
Yeah, the economy, I think everywhere, like kind of the same in America. I mean, like if you're making $50,000 a year, like you're struggling, I just don't know how a lot of working class, especially blue collar guys, that I personally know they're really, really working hard and are very laborious jobs, like general construction type stuff, packing concrete bags all day. And it's like they come home and they have credit card debt still, and they're still trying to, it's pretty sad. Like if you look back, I was talking to my parents about this with the housing market, especially like in the 80s, a house was maybe two times your income. Like that was the ratio of house price to your income, and now it's 7 to 8 times. So
crazy.
It's like
it's
you
nuts.
make 50, a house is 700. Like where I live here in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, which is pretty North Idaho, it's definitely more of a popular area. But like we're talking 1900s, like Sears catalog homes for 750,000, and it's just like it's unbelievable. It's kind of hard to comprehend. Yeah.
We got Mark Phillips says, F Trudeau and Biden. Dope and Tape says, dude, but you guys have Canadian Tire money. Tell us all about that and your huge savings. Man, Canadian Tire money is, do you know what Canadian Tire is for one there? No,
I
you
do
don't.
Not, no.
Canadian Tire is like a Craftsman freaking Walmart. It's I don't know if it's more expensive. You can find basically everything at Canadian Tire. You can find at Walmart. We have Canadian Tire bucks. So if you spend like $100, you're getting probably like $2 back in Canadian Tire bucks. Maybe. My dad saved up his Canadian Tire bucks for like 30 years and maybe had $20. Canadian Tire dollars. You can't even buy tires with them. What the hell is that? Right?
Yeah, what a great concept.
Autry Washington is watching from Mentone, Texas. How's it going, Oshere? And Logan Magaha says hi. What's going on? Yeah, so it's pretty nuts, man. The taxes, and I'm blown away. Like, we got what was that? There's another tax in there too. Though they take EI, employment insurance, right? So which should be optional, but it's not. Same with CPP. Everyone wants out of that, but not everyone, I guess. But they're trying where I live, which is just above you, just north of you.
Yeah, that is it. Like you were saying, it's kind of hard to comprehend, like with how much money they take from you, and kind of like the saying, the more you make, the more they take.
Yeah.
And I think too, like it goes hand in hand with like a lot of my skits with, I think people tend to overspend for what they make. Like they need to make their money work for them. And especially in the blue collar industry, guys tend to try to fit a certain image. Like, well, they can't see me pulling up to the job site in a Camry. I got to be in a Duramax, or I got to be in a. I mean, I know so many guys I worked with in masonry that drove, Power Strokes, Duramaxes, Cummins, and they did not need the truck. Like, and they were paying $800 to $1,000 a payment.
That's insane, man. I know that's crazy. Like I'd show up on site in a Firefly if I had to. You know what I mean? I don't care. I had a Jeep Patriot. I'll show up in that all day long. I just traded it in. I bought a whatchamacallit, Mitsubishi Outlander. Right? It's basically for my wife and kids. I'm in camp. I don't need it. I drive crew trucks around, right? Yeah, the Audrey wants to know, do you guys have any big frack jobs in Canada like here in West Texas? Absolutely. Frack life. What the frack, man? Yeah, of course we do. Amen says we call them imaginary swamper wage. Yep. And Millsy says Cummins only. But man, to me, like you said, everyone has to portray this image or tries to portray this image. Me, man, the only image I'm trying to portray is, I'm here grinding it out for my family, so my wife can be a stay-at-home mom and take care of our children. I have 2 daughters, 6 and 4, and my wife is taking care of our kids, and that's what I want to portray. You know what I mean? I leave them for weeks at a time, right? This has to mean something.
Totally,
being away, sacrificing, missing so much of my kids' lives, it has to mean something, So I don't spend my money on stupid shit.
Yeah.
It's just
you understand the importance of it. Yeah, you know that every dollar that you earn is, obviously you have to treat yourself every now and then, but like, that has to, it's very vital for your family, and that kind of the weight of your family it's much bigger than societal image. Like so many people, it's like, oh, what do you drive? It's like the first question. It's like you're almost being judged by an external factor that has no bearing on you as a person at all, or which, a lot of the blue collar guys, you need a big truck. Like if you're pulling trailers all the time and you can't be using a half ton you're going to ruin your truck. But that's something I see a ton of, is just people get really good at managing debt. Like, luckily I grew up with a father that was very, very financially smart. Like, owned his own logging business and then went into the parts business. But he drove his vehicles for 10, 15 years. Like my mom did too. I remember she got an '04 Highlander and drove it from 2004 to 2017. And then she got a new 400, and now they're retired and they can kind of indulge in things a little bit. But I've kind of approached that with my lifestyle is like, I'm going to respect this vehicle and treat it well. If it starts giving me too much grief, then I'm going to get rid of it, but I think so many people they're just constantly going through rigs, or they see the neighbor has the new truck. Oh, I got to get that. It's like, I think that's just a bad road to go down.
Yeah, absolutely. My dad, would drive a truck till she died. My boss, I was bugging him the other day because, and I joke around with him all the time. Like if I had your money, I'd burn mine because, him and his wife, they'll get a brand new vehicle, like $100,000 vehicle. And then, like within, I don't know, the very next year, they're like, well, maybe it's time for a new one. They'll trade it in and they'll buy something more expensive, right? And right now that's, it's okay because the vehicles are hard to find, especially here right now. And so, they're getting on their trade-in value, they're getting like a decent amount, right? They're pretty much getting almost the entire thing back, if not three-quarters of it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people are getting, like, especially with the shortage of like heavy duty trucks. I know
Yeah.
people that bought like a 2018 and they're selling them for like almost what they paid for it or more,
Yeah. It's
which
crazy,
is
man.
which is wild. I mean, like the vehicle market right now. I drive an '04 Chevy Cat Eye, like a 5.3 Chevy, and actually it was built in Canada. It's a funny thing I found out. But yeah, I've been driving that. It's a good truck. Like, could I get a new truck? Probably, but I was looking at new trucks the other day. Like a new Tundra is $60,000. That's for like a base model, not tricked out, not like
Yep.
anything like the not the TRD or anything like that. It's like I just can't justify paying 64,000 for a half-ton truck. And the new
Yeah.
Tundras, and a lot of these are not as reliable as like the previous models.
Yeah. Yeah, man. And my coworker, I guess he's my supervisor now. Fuck you. Uh, no, good shit. He just traded in his I think it was an F-150 for a Tremor. So like, it's slick, right? It's very nice. And he's already put in the last week, I think he's already put like 5,000 kilometers on it. I don't know how many miles that is. I don't
Yeah,
speak
I'm not
American,
sure.
so
Yeah.
I don't speak Americanese, so yeah.
Yeah, I think is that double or I'm not sure. I don't want to misquote. So yeah,
Yeah, no. No, this Kylie Williams, what's going on? I don't know if you're still in here, but what's going on? Eamon Maludi says via dramas, you'll never have to change it again. I don't know what that is.
drama. I'm
It's
not sure what that is.
Yeah, I don't know. And Byron Miller is leaving. Have a good night, Byron.
See,
I think
Byron.
he's doing pipeline. He's on the pipeline right now. So I'll be back on the pipeline. I should be back on the pipeline here Monday. I've been working on a rig for the last few days. So yeah, or Tuesday I'll be back on it. Yeah.
So they have a pretty decent living situation, like for where you're staying right now. Like they give you kind of a little apartment.
It's a camp. So
Yeah, yeah,
most camps are not too bad. You get like your own bathroom or a Jack and Jill where you share with your next door neighbor.
Oh,
But
okay.
Jack and Jills, they're kind of they're outlawed now, right? They're not outlawed. They're I guess they're illegal. I guess you could say.
Mhm.
Not saying that you cannot have a Jack and Jill anymore. It's just you can't build a new camp with a Jack and Jill.
Mhm.
So if you have a current camp with a Jack and Jill situation, your next door neighbor has to be on the opposite shift of you. So if you're working days, they got to be nights. And so most camps have that, like a games room. They feed you really good. Some camps have theaters, ice rinks, shit like that. One camp had dodgeball on Sundays, ball hockey on Thursdays and Saturdays, basketball on Friday. They had gyms, really good gyms, right? So the camp I'm in has a communal bathroom. So, I'm pooping next to the guy's shower. It makes for some really interesting conversations
Oh, I bet.
sometimes. Um, it's an older camp. It's smaller. It's just us in there. Usually there's a couple thousand people in a camp, right? You can have up to 9,500 people in a camp. I think before it's technically a city, and then they have to have their own fire department and stuff. Ours has like 40 or 50 people. It's just us in there. We just got Wi-Fi. I've been here for 5 years. We just got Wi-Fi six
Wow.
months ago.
Dang. So is your camp like, would you say an older crowd, like, or you like with families or kind of like you, or is it more of a younger guy type?
It's kind of a mix. Wow, but I'm definitely probably middle of the pack these days. For age, I'm
Okay.
getting up there, man. Just turned 35, right? I'm getting up there, man. I'm feeling it. There's a lot of younger kids, 18, 20, 21, 22, right?
Yeah.
And then we have some geriatrics on our crew too.
Some guys are like that. Yeah, the Newport.
It,
They breathe in a Newport and they exhale from the Newport. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
You
Man,
don't know one thing about work, boy.
yeah, yeah.
Like, okay.
It was minus 50 here 2 weeks ago, I guess,
Oh
for
my
like a
God.
week straight. Minus 61 in Edmonton. And we have this old boy I've been working with the last couple days. 61 years old. He East Coaster. Hard as fuck, dude. And I don't mean like, it's hard, but straight gangster. He worked his bag off in that weather. he's losing 2 toes because of frostbite, and maybe the tip of his finger.
Oh
And
my
he
God,
just says
dude.
it so casually too, man. He's just like,
I
he's
know,
like
like for
walking.
most of us, it's devastating, and he's just like,
Yeah,
I gotta take the fingers off.
yeah, man. Like, he's like, yeah, man. He's walking with a limp and hunched over a little bit. And he's like, man, my feet are sore, right? I'm like, oh, dude, what's up? He's like, during that cold snap, I worked 190 hours of unpaid time, and I've been on my job for 3,900 years, and fucking. He just like, well, I gotta go home. I got a doctor's appointment, and this is like 3 weeks ago, dude, and he's still working
Oh
right
my
now.
gosh.
He goes home in 3 days. He's still fucking working.
The
And
characters you
right, man.
Yeah,
And
some of those characters are just like when I was doing
yeah,
masonry, like guys would go with like a toothache. Like praise God that I had a mom that was like very proactive about like you
yeah,
go to the dentist, like you and your dad are going to the dentist, like you're doing
yep,
do what you're told and go to the dentist, go see the doctor, go go to the orthodontist or whatever. But like, yeah, I used to work with some of these guys. It'd be like, I've had this toothache for like a year, and it's like real deep up in my jaw, and you're like, you should probably go. I don't trust no dentist, like they just want
yeah,
your money, and you're like,
yeah, man.
it might have an effect. It might have like a tie to you chewing like and smoking at the same time every day.
Oh yeah, 100%. But he's been going for 3 weeks, and he's like, yeah, when I get home, I gotta have these toes removed, and he's like looking at the thing and calling his doctor. He's like, how long can I be? How soon can I be back to work after they're amputated? And I'm like, dude, what are you doing? And he's like, I have 4 to 6 weeks off. He's like, I'll be back in 3. I'm like,
Dude,
stop
I think
it.
that's like the difference between I was talking to my parents about that. Like that kind of boomer-esque generation,
Yeah,
it was willing to like work at the factory until they died. And they
yeah.
took it with honor. Which I think there's something to be said for that, like really working hard and like being proud of your work. But I feel like so many of those guys get exploited. They'll be like, you can take a week off and like heal up. They're like, no, I can't do that, like
I broke my hand. I broke my hand a couple years ago, right? On site with the equipment, and I'm not gonna say where or how, but I broke it. I broke it, and I didn't go home. Right, I kept working. Actually, it was minus like 30 outside, so I really couldn't feel it. It was great, and I'm like, like I was doing my thing, and I felt like puking when it happened. Though I was like, oh, right, a shock.
Mhm.
And my dad. I grew up with a boomer dad. He took me to work with him when I was 11, and I worked from him from the time I was 11 till 18, right? And my dad's a horrible human being, but like the thing I credit him for the most is he taught me the value of the dollar, what it takes to earn it at a very young age. I had my own GIC by the time I was 14. I saved up. I bought the very first iPod that ever came out. They were like this fucking big back in the day. I was 14. I bought my very first iPod that ever came out. It was great, and I saved up and dude, it was cool. That was my dad. Shout out to him. That's the only thing I'll ever say he did that was awesome. Other than that, he's a dick. So Dick Senior though. So what's up.
Yeah.
Actually, we do have the exact same name. So
Oh, that's funny. So you're junior?
yeah, I'm Junior. Yeah.
Yeah, and
So
there's something to be said about that generation. I think they really, like you said, they really understand the importance and like respect the dollar of what it takes to earn it. Well, even in my own life now, like sometimes I feel wrong, like getting a check from social media. Like I'll look at it and I'm like, there's no way. Like I used to have to work so many, like it just is because I came from a family business where like the same thing. My dad took me to work in we owned a saw shop, so like a steel dealership, saw shop, and part store, so like Federated Motion Auto Supply, and I would grind chainsaw chains all day, and I remember I made like $6-7, maybe $5 an hour. But I remember, like you said, being so excited to save up $400 to buy like a same thing, an iPod Nano. I think I bought, which is the same iPod I got in trouble for putting music on.
yes,
but
my first
yeah,
iPod
I
cost me
really
$600, and 3 months later it was 200.
yeah, and I remember just
Yeah.
like yeah, that $400 was very vital. Like I remember
Oh yeah.
all the chains. I mean, this mind numbing work, but it really taught me the importance of and taught me to appreciate when I do get money, like to not just blow it. You know, I think a lot of people are not appreciative of the position they're given in life because we all have our, certain kind of negatives and positives in our life. Like our
Yeah.
starting position. I mean, I guess, like some people are born into a rich family and that can be very positive. They can kind of use resources to get into certain aspects of life, but it can be a negative because maybe they don't appreciate, um, kind of the dollar that they get.
Yep. Kylie's in here now. I called her and told her I was going live. Kylie, it didn't work on it to Instagram. I must have did something wrong. I screwed up somewhere. So shout out to Instagram. Next time I'll get him, right? So yeah. um, yeah, man, it's crazy. My dad, man, like he paid me $50 a day from the time I was 11 till about 15 or so when I started
Mhm.
really learning, hey, I'm getting the raw end of this deal, bro.
Yeah.
We were working like 16, 17 hours, right? And I'd work on the weekends. I didn't have a summer holiday anymore. When I turned 11, he's like, hey, no summer holidays for you. Back in my day, we worked uphill both ways in the summertime in 10 feet of snow. Yeah, 180 hours.
You're like, okay, Dad.
Yeah. So I went to work with him and, he paid me $50 a day. And then I realized 18 hours, $50, like 15 hours,
Yeah,
50 bucks.
that's
What
that's
the
like that
hell?
Trailer Park. You ever see that Trailer Park episode, Trailer Park Boys episode, where Ricky and Ray are like getting cans for money, and I think Ray's like, or what Ricky say to Bubbles? Bubbles like, how's it going? And Ricky's like, oh, it's going great. We made $40 each, and he's like, or he said something where like the numbers didn't add up. He's like, yeah, we made $70, like at $50 a piece or something like that. And he's like, Ricky, that doesn't add up. Like Ray's taking your money.
Yeah, my dad, that's very Canadian, by the way. Shout out to Trailer Park Boys. I don't really watch Trailer Park Boys. I've seen
Hmm.
clips of it here and there, and I can't get into it. Maybe now that I'm older and I'm just like I'm finding like older people things to like and watch, and maybe their humor is for me now. I haven't tried it yet. But $50 a day turned into $13 an hour. And as I got older, 17, 18 years old, I'm like, once again, it's like, $13 an hour doesn't, I'm moving out on my own here. $13 an hour doesn't really pay that well. Right. And then, the family discount, he would pay me like for the whole month. He'd be like, well, I'll give you some of it now. And it'd be like $1,000 for the whole month. And like, well, I just moved out of my own, Dad. Rent back then, I think my first apartment cost me $500, right?
There's half.
Yeah, exactly, right. $500 for rent though, and that was only Jesus. That was 17, 18 years ago. Holy shit! That same place now is probably in that town is probably looking at like close to $2,000, right?
Yeah,
And
that's
that's
crazy. How rent is like. I remember in
yeah,
college calling my mom on my first apartment. It was $500, and I remember just calling her, being like, "This is crazy, Mom. How am I $500?" And like I would just beg for $500 rent right now. Like that was,
yep.
yeah, yeah. It's
I
funny like looking
remember
back.
I remember looking back $500 and how much I struggled to pay that rent. 500
Yeah,
bucks? Man, when I was 18, 19 years old, and then I came out
oh
west here, right? And $500, now I'm paying, oh shit, what was that? Now I'm paying 1650 a month, and I think that's a
yep.
steal. I'm like, hell
That's what I pay
yeah.
here. That's exact my rent is like 1,700 with all said and done. It's like 2 bedroom, 2 bath. It's very nice, like new stuff,
Yep.
but I'm still, it's like, oh, compared to all around, I'm seeing people rent out for 2,500, 3,000. I'm like, it's just wild to see. Like you said, looking back as a young, I'm 24 now, but when I was, 19, 18 in college, like what I had to do to get that 500, like working at the supplement store, working at the car dealership, working for my dad on the weekends. Like I swear I was like, I had 50 jobs. Like, I just was trying to study, trying to do this. And, looking back, it's like, dang, I was doing a lot of stuff.
Dude, what I do from hold on, the sour moose just came in. What's up, sour moose? The sour moose is a candy store just about 40 minutes away from me in Tofield, Alberta. Corso Chris runs the store, And there's www.sourmoose.ca is the website, and they have like exotic candies, hard to find candies and shit from all over the world. If you go on her website and you use my code, it's wild. I got a code for a candy store. Like my former fat kid self would be so pumped right now, and I am pumped. The Sour Moose is the shit. Hey, what's up, Sour Moose?
When
hey,
I get
guess that was an ad.
when I get candy and stuff sent to me, like that's my favorite. Like, so I'm with Heatwave Visual. Like, that's probably my favorite packages I get is like sunglasses. Like, they just sent me an RC truck, which was really cool. I don't know if you saw that on my Instagram story.
So you're getting RC trucks, like remote control trucks from them?
Yeah, so I've been with them since like 2021, I think, or 2020, and yeah, done a lot together, like done a lot of commercials and stuff, and
Yeah.
like the other day, my girlfriend goes to the door and she just like, there's a huge box outside. I'm like, open it up, and yeah, it's like a literal RC like Baja truck that does 50 miles an hour.
What the hell? Now
It's crazy, yeah. Oh, I know, yeah.
No, I'm not mad.
Sick.
I'm also with Heatwaves. I also
Sweet.
got I also got an affiliation with them, but like I've never gotten an RC truck. What the hell, dude?
I know, what the heck? Maybe send you an RC truck.
You're way big. You got way more followers than me, so
it's kind of weird how that whole world works, you know, like that's what frustrated me when I was coming up with companies is like that's I think with social media is what bothers me the most is it's such a like robot numbers game. Like these people will just look at your account and be like, "Oh, I'm not going to follow you. You only have like 50,000," or you know, I could see that when I was coming up was like people in real life talk to me differently. They like, "Oh, I saw you're making TikToks. That's kind of cool." Or then like when I got to like almost like now 500,000, they're like, "Dude, like that's so crazy," you know. And they like, "You should do I want to be on one of your videos," and it's like, "Oh, now you know, kind of a." That's my kind of one gripe with social media is just with companies and kind of all sorts of stuff is just it's all a numbers game and you know like we won't really want to take you on because you only have this or you know.
You know what, dude, and they're people are so excited to get on like with companies like that. They're using you, right? And as long as you can tell the difference between, you know, they like me, no, they're using you. And if you can really like, you know, get on board with that, you're laughing, right? Like, but with numbers, I know what you mean by that. You know, I've been with Troll Clothing. I've been with them now for 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
And you know the influence they seem to have, man. The influencers they use. Jesse and I talked about this on last week's podcast. They really understand the importance of the micro influencer, right? Like they have a couple really big content creators, but they also have like a few smaller ones, right? With like 1,000 followers, 2,000 followers, you know. And I think that's huge, man. That's
I think
that's amazing.
I think you can get actually a lot more traction sometimes with the smaller micro accounts. What I've noticed with a lot of people on TikTok, especially, is they will repeat the same video over and over. Like I'm repetitive with some of my content, but I like to diverse. But some of these people are like almost NPC, just brain rot content, and they have say 2 million followers. But out of those 2 million, how many people are actually following them for you and like what you like and what you're interested in? Say like with with the shirt you're wearing, you know, like if people were just following you because you're like going into a Walmart and just acting a fool, like how many people are going to actually use that code for a sweater? But if all 50,000 are all blue collar content, hardworking people, they really connect with the brand. I think, you know, I think that's a lot. There's a lot to say for that rather than, oh, this person has 1 million. Let's just bring them on because it's 1 million. It's like, well, who is that million? You know?
Oh, Kylie just said it down there. We talk about that all the time, right? Can you see the comments? I don't know if you can see them there. Tracy Mack is in the house. If you're ever live on TikTok and you need a good moderator, Tracy Mack, hands down the best TikTok moderator on the internet.
She's blocking everybody.
Yeah. Oh yeah. She's no. You know, she's good shit. Kylie says, I'd rather have genuinely engaged followers. And we talk about that all the time. My biggest pet peeve on TikTok is the creators that do nothing but cause drama and talk shit. They grow, they get a lot of followers, right? They grow because people it's like a tire fire, right? They can't take their eyes off it. They're not there because they like you. They're there because they want to watch you burn. They want to see how you're going to blow up today, right?
Yeah, they want to see the drama, and it's just almost like a reality TV where, like I've built my account kind of slowly. I always kind of like slow and steady wins a race, or, going the long route, because I've got up to about 500,000, and there's people that have started later than me. They're maybe at 1 million, but I look at their video views and it's not as engaging. Like, I'm pretty consistent with my
Yeah.
video views,
Yeah.
because every time I post, people just love it for what just like me for me and my personality. I'm not trying to be someone I'm not.
Yeah.
And that's when I see people here in Coeur d'Alene, like, I'll be walking around a store like Kohl's or Walmart, and like, it's usually some guy starts staring at me, and then I kind of am like, why is he looking at me? And then he'll come up to me, but I love your content. And that's another thing I should address too, is like, if I'm out, don't be afraid to come and talk to me, because I'm just a normal person. I'm
Yep.
just a guy that I work, I go out in public. I like to lift weights. I like to eat food. Like, I'm not a celebrity by any means. Like, yeah, maybe I have a following on a certain apps, but I think so many people put these creators on these huge pedestals, like they worship them. And
Yep.
it's like, that person, I still get in arguments with my girlfriend. I still have stress. I still cry. I still
I still got to go to fucking work.
yeah, I still have anxiety. I still got to wake up and like figure out, I got to do taxes soon, like, I see people, like, when they see me, they're like, dude, like, thanks for talking. Can I get a picture? And it's like, yeah, like, I don't care. Like,
Hell
'cause
yeah, man. I think that's
I've been there
cool.
too. Because
Yeah.
before, I used to kind of put these people on pedestals. But then when I got in that realm, it's kind of a weird competitive type realm. Like, I know people with the same type of level accounts. When they start to do better, they kind of like, well, I've been unfollowed, and
Yep.
like, oh, I'm at 1 million now. You're still 500,000. Like, you're not good enough for me. Like, I'm moving on. It's just like, it's a weird world.
So I see you all. I seen you on my TikTok a lot, right? And I see you on my. I'm starting to see you on my Instagram more. That was just kind of cool, right? Because like, you're not as big over on Instagram, and
Mm-hmm.
I that's where I'm like, oh, he's on Instagram too. And that's where I reached out, right? But I didn't follow you on TikTok until today or yesterday, I think
Mm-hmm.
it was, because right, you got 400,000 followers, right? And at the beginning, I was like, fuck, I don't want to follow this guy. And not just you. It's like a lot of bigger creators.
Totally.
Fuck, I
Yep.
don't want to follow this guy because, I'm not going to get a follower back out of it. He doesn't know I exist, And then, I'm about 73,000. Some of your destinations have arrows. Oh, okay. Never mind. Sorry. It's telling me all about
Mm-hmm.
Instagram again. All right. So then I'm about 73K on my, what was once my backup account, but I guess is now my main. I hit 73K there, or just about to, and it's like, well, I can't follow everyone back, right? I don't. If you're hitting the follow button, I can't see who's all following me. That happens sometimes. It'll happen like a couple thousand within a couple days. I'm not
yeah.
going through that.
I totally don't even like
Yeah.
people in real life that know me through college, or like growing up. They're like, hey, you didn't follow me back, man. And I'm like, dude, you have to understand. Like, if I get a video that hits like 5 million views, like, I turn off all my notifications, because it will literally shut down my phone.
Yep.
Like, my
Yep.
phone will fit. Like, I have a new iPhone. It will literally the hardware will lag. Like, I can't see, like, you'd be the 1,000th follow for that day. Not like trying to boast or anything, but it's just like, it's hard to see sometimes with,
Yeah.
but yeah, definitely trying to push the Instagram a little more. And Reels have been doing pretty good. Like, I've noticed, like, Reels have been popping off sometimes more than my TikTok has.
Yep. My Reels on Instagram do way better than my TikToks. And well, you got to think about it this way, right? I got almost 46,000 on Instagram and like 73,000 on TikTok. I heard, or I actually read that one Instagram follower is the equivalent. One TikTok follower is the equivalent of 10, or is it the other way around? One Instagram
probably
follower.
one Instagram. Yep.
One, yeah. So it's worth more on Instagram, right?
It
It's
is,
harder,
yeah. I think
yeah.
it's a lot harder to grow. Like, but I've noticed, like, once I've started just pushing, I kind of post a lot. Like, people that are listening, if you want to see my lifting stuff, like the strongman content, I post a lot more on Instagram, because it doesn't get taken down for like dangerous activity. And because some of the stuff, I'm like lifting like a 350-pound sandbag and tossing it, and people, like on TikTok, understandable. It's like, don't promote this. But yeah, it's definitely interesting to see the growth on. I'm kind of getting a new found love again for, like, it felt like I just started my TikTok page. I'm kind of feeling that same way with Instagram. Like,
Yeah.
I went from, like, this couple months, I went from like 2,000 to 20, and I was like, oh, like, you get excited again. Like,
Yep.
kind of when you get to that couple 100,000, you kind of almost start to to lose that drive a little bit because you're like, you know, I got 450 right now. Like that's plenty, you know. So you kind of stop pushing sometimes.
Yeah. I just had a 12 million view video on Instagram.
That's
Right?
crazy.
It's at 12.1, and I gained almost 6,000 followers off of it, which is kind of cool. My insights this coming month are gonna suck because I reached 9 million accounts in the last 30 days,
Yeah.
right? And now it's good. It's already starting to drop. And when it comes up, it's like, oh, you've reached 1 million accounts this month, minus 900%. It's like, son of a
Yeah.
bitch, right?
Yeah.
Like, damn.
I was gonna ask, do you find like with your content, like that video that hit 12 million, was that a video that you really thought about or just kind of were having fun?
So I was just having fun, right? It was cold. It was minus 30 outside.
Yeah.
And I was wearing my hard hat, and I heard a sound. It was from, you know, the movie Castaway with
Yeah.
Tom
I saw
Hanks.
that. Wilson.
Yeah. It's like, but it's minus 35, and you're trying to get 3 inches of dick out of 6 inches of Carhartt.
Yeah.
And I was like, Wilson! I'm sorry, Wilson, right? And I actually posted that 2 years ago. There was a repost. I just needed a video to post that day, and I hadn't made one, and I didn't have time to make one. So I was just like, "Fuck it, you know what? Instagram." Threw it on Instagram, and then it was getting 1 million a day. Every time I look back the next day, 1 million, another million. I watched it hit 12, and then it just kind of started dying out. I'm like, "That's cool. I don't need any more." Right? Like you said, I have all my notifications off for every app now, right? And it's just I can't, or it will kill my phone. So it's kind of wild, yeah.
Well, you'll turn into an iPad kid. You'll just be on your phone all day. Like that's the problem with TikTok is like you literally turn into a bot. Like it's just you look down and you're like, dude, I learned nothing. Like I literally sat here for 4 hours and just like brain rotted myself. But it's funny you say that like that was a video where you just my best videos, I literally grab my phone and a pair of sunglasses or a hat and I do the characters and I just start like just going off randomly and like people are like but the ones I sit and actually write down, I think I just stress myself out too much. You know, you're kind of like, no, that wouldn't sound good. That wouldn't. But it's kind of like, you know, with you and your buddy get drunk, like you come up with the funniest things because you just are so like, whatever, you know, just throwing things off the wall.
Yeah. What video was that? I did one the other day. And you know, there was a creator on TikTok. She's also on Instagram, and I tagged her in it. She works on the rigs there, and she made a video about how, you know, they didn't feed her and budget cutbacks and shit like that, right? And she, I don't know if she got mad about it or not, but some like bigger like Bluecollar highlight page, you know, like Boom Nation. It wasn't Boom Nation. Shout out Kennedy, by the way, that's her name. She made a video and they got a hold of it and they cut it up and they made her look horrible. Like she was whining and they made it seem like she was a lesser person, and it's because she's female. Can't let females into the oil patch because this is what they're gonna do. Well, like I'd never been fed on a rig before, right? I was like, what the hell? They feed you? I'm just learning now they're feeding you.
Yeah.
So I had fun with it. And then a couple days later, I went on the site and I got fed for the first time. So I stitched her video and I'm like, you know, here they are. And holy shit, man, I'm getting fed. What's this? I'm like, shout out to Kennedy, man. Next time, complain about the wages or something, you know? Like, fucking, maybe we'll all get a
We're not making enough money. Yeah.
And someone said, hey, good for you for standing up for Kennedy. And I'm just like, hey man, she's a content creator in my niche, you know, whether I agreed or not, I'm gonna stick up for her. You know what I mean? Like, And then I did.
You never know like where those videos are gonna end up, which is like the impact. Like I made a video about McDonald's. Like I got a McDonald's meal, and I posted this last year, like around this time, and all of a sudden, like people were sending me like, dude, you're on CNN. I'm like, what? Like you're on like, you know, like these major like Now This and like all these kind of news stations, and they're like reaching out for interviews. I denied them all because I don't want to be political on my page. Like I just I have my certain beliefs, and you know, like I grew up in rural Idaho, so you can kind of paint that wherever you want. But like
America,
I'm not gonna sit on
freedom.
exactly. But like I'm not gonna be like, you know, go on there and just, but it was about like how much like fast food costs, because you know fast food is basically the same price now as going out to eat. But like the same example. It's just kind of like, wow, I never thought in my kitchen, kind of just pointing my phone at this McDonald's bag, like this is ridiculous. Where like what that girl did, like was able to make a change.
Yeah, yeah. So uh, I can't talk politics on my social media pages. I kind of wanted to a little bit, just
Hmm.
jokingly, but I can't even joke about it, right? The one time I did it, some guys like, um, I this page was great until it went political. I'm unfollowing, and it's like,
Oh,
if you're
dude.
gonna unfollow, unfollow. This is an airport.
Yeah.
You don't need to announce your departure.
That's
Just
why I don't
fucking
even
leave,
bother. Yeah, I don't
right?
bother because like I believe with people, we all have our own ideas, and I
Yeah,
don't think you should attach the idea to your person. So like I grew up in a small town where it's kind of dangerous with echo chambers, meaning like, you have these people that are all yes men, like, oh, that's a great idea. Yeah, 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 yeah. And it's kind of you're never challenged in your thoughts. Like, um, yeah, it's just kind of I'm never gonna be like, I don't like that guy because he believes in this.
yeah,
It's kind of like I like you for you if you're nice to me, you respect me, but we all have our ideas up here above our head, and we really don't have our own. If it makes like we don't have our own political ideas. Like
yeah,
you kind of grow up a certain way, you attach to a certain thing, and you kind of personalize that. But I
yeah,
think the problem is people see that bubble and they attach that to you, and they go, I don't like you because of X, Y, Z. I'm just like not even going to get into that. I learned the hard way when I first started TikTok. I made a joke. It was kind of like a joke about this lady was making a tomato burger. Like she used tomato slices instead of the bun. And I used this like morph app that turned me into like Chris Brown. And like, I'm like, it was like kind of an edgy joke. And like, dude, this one guy got a hold of it. He had a big account. He had like 500,000. I can't remember his name, but he stitched it. And I had at the time like 50,000. And
yeah.
he's like, you think that's cool to like you think abusing women is cool? And I'm like, whoa, like, and dude, I got like death threats and like all these people messaging me like, yeah, I'm sure your mom's proud of you, she raised an abuser. And I'm like, it's a joke about like it's totally okay for Dave Chappelle and them to make those jokes, but as soon as I do, like, oh, I'm not big enough to do that. So I've stayed
Yep.
away from any type of like in that regard.
I just posted a video. It's another old repost from 2 years ago. A creator of color in the U.S. told me to repost it every Black History Month, so I do, right, and so does he, and he tags me, and it sends traffic my way. And it was like snowing in the background of my video, and it was this Black History Month. It's February, and I'm like, so we're expecting 10 to 12 inches tonight. Well played, Black History Month. Well played, right? And oh man, everyone loved it. My wife's part Black, right? Which I can't really just say that because she's very white, so she can't really experience or relate to the plight of people of
Hmm.
color, right? So I got to stop saying that. But everyone loved it for the first few days. Everyone loved it, and then the
Oh yeah.
people came like, "You're a racist," right? And it's like,
Yeah,
well,
you're like,
no,
whoa, not I'm
no,
not in any yeah, in any
yeah,
regard.
yeah. And I got invited to the cookout so many times. They're like, "Yo, this the homie invited to the cookout, bro," and I'm like, well. I'm glad I'm invited because I was just coming anyways. So this makes it less awkward, right? And a couple of the bigger Black creators got a hold of it. They stitched it, duet it, and they all. The one guy's like, I don't know whether or not to protest or laugh, right?
Yeah.
And then I was just like, that's hilarious. And then he got me a lot of followers onto that one actually, and a lot of views. And he's like, if anybody ever comes to you, he messaged me. He's like, if anyone ever comes to you and calls this racist, tag me in the comment. I'm coming for him. Right? I'm
Yeah,
like,
most
oh
most most
shit.
of those people, like really the people that the video is usually tended like in the joke are never offended.
No,
Like
it's
like whether
always yeah, it's
yeah, it's always
always
these people
virtue
that are like,
signaling, right?
yeah,
It's
like
fucking
I need some virtue, I'm gonna like go play the
yeah,
hero. And that's
yeah,
what it was. It was like 90% of people were like, dude, that's pretty funny. But like
yeah,
these people then started targeting like like you're ugly, you're like they were like so harsh. And I'm just
yeah,
going like it's comedy. It's dark comedy. Yes, was it an edgy joke? Of course. But like people don't laugh at knock knock jokes anymore. So, like you have to be a little bit on the edge. Like that's why
yeah.
people I think you just can't apologize for it, which I didn't. Like
I didn't.
oh, yeah, exactly. If you're out there being like belligerently, whatever, then yeah, that's not okay. But like if you're just making jokes and it's like it's harmful, like I don't feel like people should come at you, you know, and then the cancel culture works by, please, so I'm sorry. You know, like you can't say that. Just be like, I don't care. Like I really don't care. Like, you know.
So that's I repost it every year. And right now it's going off on Instagram. It's at almost 2 million views on Instagram right now. It's like 1.5 or something like that. And the same thing. People are just like, that's hilarious. And then Buddy made a story about it. And he said some shit. And it sounded like he was being like trying to poke the bear a little bit. So I commented. And I look at every story people tag me in. I look at it, I like it, and I comment if it's funny, right? And I'm like, man, are you trying to start something with this? Like it's not meant to start like. And he's like, no, dude. He's like, I'm actually trying to like start like a constructive conversation about it. He's like, this is funny as fuck, and that's kind of what I'm saying. I'm like, okay, cool. And then we had a conversation about it afterwards and whatnot, a little bit further into depth. But I doubled down on the video when I first posted it on TikTok 2 years ago. Right?
Mm-hmm.
People were going crazy, and then like a couple days later, there was this heavier set woman holding a Subway sandwich, right? And she's like, this ain't the only foot long I'm having tonight, right? And I was like, oh. So I fucking stitched it. I stitched it, right? And I'm like, damn, girl, most people just go to a museum or something to learn about Black History Month, but not you, no. And then I jump cut, and I'm like, you went, it's like, not you, no. You got on the ride. You hit the souvenir shop afterwards, right?
Yeah.
And like fucking, oh, dude, people love that one too, right? And I haven't reposted that one. I just it just doesn't need to be reposted.
If anything, like you're kind of poking fun at you.
Yeah. Oh yeah, man.
Yeah.
Like
it's like you're poking fun at yourself, and I think people just take. I think people don't experience, like, if you have enough time to sit around and worry about things like that, like, you obviously don't have enough stress in your life to even, like, you must not be trying hard enough in other avenues that you're sitting here on social media being like, you know, like raging. Like, these people get so mad. Like, that's why I just tend to not post anything political. I try not to get involved in it. Because you can sit there. It's just like the joke with the family, you know, Thanksgiving or Christmas dinner. You're always going to have that uncle or aunt that's going to believe differently. Or even inside your own, you know, close family, your father, your mother, you're never going to be able to convince that person, especially if they're from a different city, a different country. Like, who am I to say, no, you need to believe this way and you're from Europe? Like, I don't know what your upbringing was like. Like, there's a lot. I think people fail to realize there's a lot that goes into people's thoughts than we realize. Like, it's not all just surface level. And it's something that I've had to work with in my relationship and, you know, just in life, is being more empathetic and being more like, let me really sit and think about like what you're saying and why you believe this way, rather than like, well, and then just respond, you know?
Yep. Hey, I got a question for you, man. Do you know what viscosity is?
I know, like, the term, like the definition. Yeah.
What is viscosity in your term or definition?
I think it just being like fluid, and as far as your thoughts, like being able to maybe not block certain opinions out, like just be open to, you know, being viscous, being able to just go with the flow type of thing. That would be kind of my maybe like humanized definition of it. Yeah.
The reason why I'm asking is because the podcast is sponsored by the Mudman, right? And the Mudman deals in the thickness of fluid on the drilling rigs, right? Like, you know, if it's too viscous, you know, they water it up, or too thick, they water it down a little bit. If it's too thin, they thicken that shit up, right? So the Mudman, you know, he's there to make you have a thicker load. You know, how thick is your load? Pretty much, you know. So www.mudmarket.com. You know, check them out for all your drilling fluid and laboratory testing equipment needs. I love where the conversation about thick loads goes. Sometimes it's some people, they take it where it doesn't need to go, and I've been like, I was gonna say I've been horrible. I've actually been pretty good at like having fun with it. And the Mudman doesn't care. He listens to it. We talk about it, and he's pretty cool and open about like how far it's gone. So yeah.
So he's a pretty cool sponsor. So he's not like censoring you too much.
Yeah, no, I don't think he's censoring me at all. But yeah, the Mudman. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have the headset or the mic. And you know, he hooked his boy up. So
that's pretty nice.
Hell yeah, man. It was really cool to get a sponsor, and I don't know if I have an affiliation with Dirty Hands, Clean Money, and Heat Waves. Is that technically a sponsor that I could push on the show?
Yeah, I think I would reach out to him for sure. Be like, hey,
For
like,
sure.
you know, you, what I found with a lot of these companies is you can kind of like make your own contracts. Like,
Yeah.
so I sleep with a CPAP, like a forced air device, because my neck is like 18 inches. So it's like I physically like I'm about 6'5", like 350. So it's like I'm a very big, large man,
You
and
are a mountain of a man.
yeah, I'm a big dude. So it's hard. Like I can't physically. When I got into strongman, like sleep became an issue. So I reached out to this company. My girlfriend's like, reach out to the company and message them. So it's Lofta, like a sleep CPAP company. I'm like, hey, do you guys work with influencers? They're like, yeah, we could. And then kind of just have a conversation with their media kind of director or I don't know what they're called now, like what their position is. But yeah, most of the time you can be like, yeah, if you give me $500, I'll mention you on the podcast. Or there's always something you can. It's pretty
Shit.
surprising, like this, because it's kind of uncharted territory. You know what I mean? Like, there's no really set rules of like, well, for podcasts we only do this, but like a lot of these companies have never kind of divulged in that, so you can kind of talk and just have a conversation. Like, yeah, maybe for 250, I'll wear the shades on the sun on the podcast or type of thing.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Damn, dude. What's your Heat Waves code?
TopherOlive. I think it's gosh, this is I think it's TopherOlive 99, like all caps.
Mine
I
is
believe so.
Frost
Or
8910.
yeah, Topher Olive 9910.
Yeah,
So
mine's
it's kind
mine's
of long.
Frost 8910.
So it's just my Instagram handle, and then just the 10% off. So yeah,
Hell yeah. Hell
I need
yeah,
to get
man.
changed because it's a little long. I think I might just change it to like Topher 10 because I kind of did it when I first started. It was just like that'll work, whatever. I don't know if this is gonna work or not.
So you were saying like if they offered you like $200 or whatever, you'd message them on there. It's wild, and you brought it up earlier, like at the
Hmm.
beginning, how like your first social media check, right? Your first social media pay when it hit. How much was your first one ever?
My first one ever, like real check from a company, was actually through that CPAP company. I think it was $1,500 for a video,
Good for
and
you.
that was like my first real. Before I think I did, or maybe I lied. No, it wasn't 1,500. That was like my second. My first one, I did a Dr. Squatch ad. The soap, like the natural soap.
Yeah.
They reached out to me to like do just kind of a soap, and I think I got like $500 or $400. And then ever since then, it's kind of just progressed. And then as your account's bigger, you can I've learned to set like a certain price, and most of the time they will go for it. Like kind of knowing your worth, just like you're saying when you start with your dad, like $13 ain't cutting it. I need more. I need more. And I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
I think a lot of people can take that into their own life, like because as kind of owning your own business, you have to hold yourself accountable, but also protect yourself. Like, no, I'm not going to make like all these videos for this, or you kind of have to expect more of yourself and expect yourself to do good. And before you can do that, you have to expect, think of yourself as that person, and then you kind of become that. Um,
Absolutely.
yeah, I think a lot of people, especially in the blue collar world, like I used to work non-union masonry, so like people got treated so poorly, and it was like they felt trapped. And I think if you're in a job, like I think our generation, you're kind of in that mid 30s, I'm mid 20s, that you can leave a job and it's going to be okay. Like you don't have to work for that guy that cusses at you and throws stuff at you. I mean, like literally, I've been on job sites where people get stuff thrown at them, literally verbally abused, like
I work
to
in
the
the
point.
oil field. That's just an
Oh yeah,
every
you
average
live
day,
that, yeah. But I mean,
man.
like it does get to a point where I think people are like, I mean, maybe thinking about suicide or whatever it is, like if it's getting to that point, like just quit. And like you can find with your experience, especially we need blue collar people in this world. Like we need
Absolutely.
plumbers, we need general contractors, we need people that do drywall. It's a dying art, like masonry, all these things. I think people, they think, oh well, I'm just kind of a blue collar guy, I kind of don't know much. It's like, dude, you know a lot. Like you are a very smart individual, and
Yep.
you can use your skills to level up your life. If you're not happy at that job and they're paying you $15 an hour to do this laborious work, like you can start your own, say, masonry company or concrete company. Like
Absolutely.
you know all the stuff to do, like right, like every part of the job. Like why not go take that risk and don't be scared to get out of that bad situation.
Yeah. So I like all that. We're gonna touch on a lot of that, but my first I guess pay for the internet stuff is wild. You know who Javi Coffee is? I think they've reached out to literally everyone.
I don't know. No.
No, Javi Coffee reached out to me, and Bluecollar Coffee, right? They were the first one
Hmm.
that ever reached out, and I'm like, hell yeah, I could do this, right? It was cool, so I did it, and I think I made $16 in the last 2 years off them. Three years almost off them. I only sold a couple of them, but it allowed me to break out of my niche a little bit, but stay in my
Yeah.
niche at the same time. What better than for blue collar than coffee? Yeah, blue collar people love that shit.
Yeah.
Maybe not iced coffee like that was, but they're coffee. So it was the first time outside of the thing I had to step out of my comfort zone, right, a little bit, because it was not my typical content, but I had to, okay, can I do this, right? And I had to get
Yeah. Yeah.
really creative, right? And I
Push
think I
yourself
did
a little.
great.
Yeah.
I think I did great. I'm gonna try reposting one of those
Yeah.
videos and see how,
Yeah.
how
That's
it
the
does
best,
now.
man. Like
Maybe
when
I
you
can
really have to
reignite
think.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, when you really have to think about like what you're gonna have to, it is uncomfortable. Like these companies reach out to you, and it's almost like it's like almost like a new job, like that you're stepping onto. You're like, I
Yeah.
did I do a good job? That you're like nervous to make the video, and 9 times out of 10, most of the time they're like, this is great. Thank you very
Yep.
much. Um, yeah, you have to go out there. Like my first skits for companies were looking back. I'm like, oh my god, what a failure. But I never looked at them as a failure because I think in order to succeed, you have to learn, and that's through
Yep.
failure.
Yep.
Like
Why do
Michael
we
Jordan
fall,
has the
Bruce?
quote. Yeah, exactly. Like
Why do
Michael
we
Jordan
fall,
has the
Bruce?
quote.
Yep.
Hmm. Yeah, Michael Jordan has a quote. He's like, I took so many shots, and I missed this many shots. I missed 10,000 shots. So many times I've been trusted to hit the game-winning shot, and I missed it. But I failed over and over and over and over again. And that's why I'm a winner. And I think that's kind of something to apply to your life, and whether it's content or your job. Like
Yep.
that's part of learning. Like you're gonna suck at things when you first start. Like
I don't
how it is your
know.
first videos.
Yeah, I don't know if you watch hockey or not. Do you watch NHL?
I don't know. Yeah.
Martin Brodeur is, I think, like the most winningest goalie of all time in the NHL. He also has the most losses in the NHL, right?
Hmm.
To perfect your craft, you're gonna have to be bad at it at some point. Didn't Michael Jordan get cut from his high school team?
Yeah, I believe so. Like 'cause he
Yeah,
didn't make the team at
yeah,
first, and like had to like really work to get on it. And
yeah.
yeah, like that's with anything. Like you're gonna fail, or you're gonna be really bad at first. Like
Oh
you
yeah.
know how it
It's
is.
like
Like
content too. Same
oh,
thing.
like your first. I remember my first skits. Like looking back, I'm like, oh my gosh, like cringe. Like
Well, look at back of your videos. They're cringe, right? But that's the social media game in general, right? How many times are you willing to get punched in the face and keep coming back for more with a smile on,
yeah,
right?
because I'll admit, like when that guy stitched my video about that joke I made, and like all those people were hating on me, I was like, I want to give up. I'm like, this is not for me. But I just kept making videos, and I just didn't let those kind of like hating people get in the way. And I've had people in college tell me like when I first started, like those, what are you doing? You're a grown man on TikTok. You're a grown man on this. But now those same people are like, how much you making? And I really don't want to tell them because it's like I don't think you deserve to know. Like, well, but, like oh, you were making fun of me to start, but now that you see that there's income involved, now you're involved. Like
Yeah, exactly. And Kylie down there in the comments, she said at one point in life we didn't know how to walk or talk, and exactly. My daughters are only 4 and 6, right? They were at the stage not that long ago. You watch a kid, they go to walk and they keep falling down. They keep falling down. They keep getting hurt. They get right back up. They don't cry about it. They don't like, oh, I can't do this, right? And
hmm.
they get up and they try again like an hour later or 20 minutes later, right? Same with
Yeah,
talking, right? And it's like that with just about damn near everything, right?
yeah, literally
And
everything.
yeah, man, it's pretty wild. The things that we nature versus nurture, right? Like nature tells you, hey, keep trying, keep going, let's go. But the way that you grow up, or people teach you along the way, somewhere along the way, you lose that fighting instinct, that fight. You lose the fight. A lot of people do.
Yeah, they kind of they experienced a little bit of that failure, and it maybe stacks up more than usual. And some people are given a forehand, like I
Yeah.
totally understand, like, with medical issues and, but with people that ask me kind of like, how do you get started in content? I'm like, get your phone out and just start talking. Like, just start filming
Yeah.
whatever you think is funny. The more you think about it, the worse it gets. Like,
Oh, don't think about it at
like,
all,
don't
man.
think about it. And, like I've posted videos for 2 years and didn't really get anywhere. So I think people kind of expect when they start things, they get really frustrated when it's not going their way right away.
Yep.
Um, and maybe that's certain personality types, but I always took it as like, well, I gotta self-evaluate and kind of see where I can do better. Why are my videos not getting, rather than being like, my video got 500 views, this app's stupid, I hate it, I'm done, I don't understand it, I'm just bad at it. It's like, well, why is it? Let me look at other people. Okay, maybe I need to be a little more genuine. Maybe I need to stop, the video's too long. Maybe the video's too short, or change up the microphone or the lighting. I think unless you're, exerting all of your different resources and then it's still not working,
Yeah.
okay, maybe it's just kind of like with anything. Like a certain thing, genetics and everything play a role. Like, I'm too big to play soccer. I'll never be able, like I can't play soccer. It's just, this is not in the cards for me.
Do you know who Jeremy Littell is?
I don't know.
You don't know who Jeremy Littell? The guy had
I
like
do not.
millions and millions of followers. He's big. He does the little Johnny jokes.
I haven't seen him. I bet if I saw him, I'd
Yeah.
probably recognize him.
Yeah, he was on episode 50, and we were talking about that. Well, how do I get into content? And he's like, you know what? How he made his first video and that went super viral is he was ice fishing, and he didn't know the video back then was only 15 seconds long. That's it, right? And so he was doing the jig thing, and it turned out the video turned into a loop. Well, it got like 20 million views on it, I think. And he's like, whoa, that's crazy. The serotonin rush, right? And he's like, he said to me, he's like, I'm same thing you said earlier about, I'm nobody. I'm not famous. And we're not. They were just regular people. He said, I'm a goofball with a phone in front of my face.
Exactly.
Part of the social media game, I guess you could call it, is most of it's luck, right? Posting at the right time, just being an idiot with your phone. When did you get on? I got on during the pandemic when everyone was doing nothing but looking at their phone. Right?
Yeah, that was a good time. Like when I would get a ton of followers on TikTok in a day.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I was going like 50,000 every week. It
was the Wild West, man.
And then now it's kind of slowed down a little bit. But I think you just have to just realize it's like, just you're a person with an iPhone. Just start saying things. It's nothing more than that. Like, don't take it too serious, and it's not that big of a deal at the end of the day. Like, if you fail at it, like your mom still loves you. You're gonna still have a family and kids that love you. It's not like it's the with anything like the Super Bowl, like with sports. I think I've talked about that on certain podcasts with people, like people that let sports dictate their like level of happiness. Like I get into games, but sometimes people like they get into like physical altercations with others about sports. And it's like
crazy,
dude. These people do not know you. Like
they don't care either. Yeah.
They don't care. They're billionaires, like with little pawn millionaires that like they're trying to like clash against each other. And sports are fun. Like I think they help pass the time. But I think people just kind of put, like, again, back to the point of putting people on pedestals that don't need to be. Like for sure, like I think you should be proud of your content and like your account. Like I'm proud that I built something that makes me money and as a business. Like I'm not gonna be like, oh, I just kind of whatever. But like I'm not. I'm a D list celebrity.
Is there anything lower than that? Like,
is there like a bottom tier where like I get recognized at Applebee's? Like I get recognized the most at like Texas Roadhouse. I feel like where all the blue collar guys go, like Texas Roadhouse, Home Depot. Where else? Like
I get recognized the most on site at work, right?
Oh, I bet, yeah. Oh.
Like I kind of want to test it out a little bit. My job right now is in the way of my content growing even more, and I think I could do more without working. But I backed myself into a corner. All my content's of me at work.
Yeah,
right.
Dang.
So like, fuck, man. Like, what the hell do I do here, right? And
you set the fake work like people do on TikTok.
Oh, dude.
Where like you see when they set up the phone and then they walk over with like a hammer and they're like, they put an audio over it.
Shit, dude. So Isn't it wild the kind of money you could just make in the palm of your hand? It blows me away. You're doing it anyways. It's good. It's fun.
Yeah.
As I said, the coffee was the first one, then the heat waves,
Mm-hmm.
and then the heat waves, and then dirty hands, clean money, and my most recent interesting way to make money. Some guy on Instagram messaged me, and he's like, "Hey, he's like, you ever considered, OF OnlyFans?" And the lunchboxes too. Yeah, shout out to the lunchboxes, Scotty. Thank you. He's like, have you ever considered, OnlyFans? And I'm like, man, that would be a cash venture only. You know what I mean? Because OF takes a certain amount, and if I'm doing that for another guy, especially, I want cash, right?
Yeah.
Right? Like, you know what I mean? So he's like, well, you're hot AF, and like,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
would you be able to make some for my private collection? I'll pay you $100. And I'm like, we're going more than $100 here, bud.
Yeah, I need more, dude. I can get into that because, like, so first off, my name is TopherOlive. That's my full name. I took the last half Topher. If you read it carefully, but people split it up as TopherOlive, which that gets me some very, very, very interesting DMs on Instagram.
I bet
99.999% male, like all of them are male, and it's like they're direct, dude. Like those guys are direct. Like, hey, big boy, like you want to throw me around, like throw that sandbag, and you're like,
oh my god,
oh boy, like,
so
oh boy.
So buddy's like $1,000, and as soon as I said $1,000, I'm like, that'd be like $1,000, right? And he's like, that's a lot to pay. He's like, I'd consider it. All right. And then he got back to me and he's like, this is what I want. Right. He's like, I want you to moan my name. And I'm like, oh boy, that's the weirdest part about all this. Right. And because then he's like, I want you like choking your chicken in a porta potty on site. Like I haven't done that before, bro. Like, fuck, I'd do that for free, man. Like shit, like, fuck. And I'm like, is that it? Coveralls, in a work truck. And I told my boss, because I'm like, you know what? Like, hey, this is a good time to ask for a raise. Either you're paying me or he is,
This
bro.
guy is.
And my boss told me to get fucked and basically gave me the finger. I'm like, every truck about to be sticky up in this bitch, right? Like, you have no idea what's coming, bro. At me. But, yeah, fucking, man. And we were talking, man, and like, I'm already playing with the damn thing for free, right? It's already in my hand. Why not make a little bit of money off of it, right? Like, the moaning the name part's a little bit weird for me, but like, whatever, I'll think.
It's not
of my
weird.
sister
You're just experimenting.
Yeah, I'll think of my sister or my wife or something,
Yeah,
like,
it's just experimenting.
Like, yeah. So whatever, man. We're still working it out. We're still talking. I'm still thinking it over. $1,000 is $1,000. Like, yeah.
Sounds like a pretty decent trade agreement.
I need a new dishwasher. But when I posted that video, it was like the bat signal went up in the air for the gays, right? The bat signal went up in the form of a dick, and I got so many messages.
Dude, when I posted the worst one that got me was I made a skit about being a big guy, like, because as a big guy, you go out in public, you're always gonna get the dude like, oh, you're a big dude, like, how big are you? How much you weigh? And like all these comments, like,
yeah,
oh, you are a big boy, like the sweating emoji, and you're like, here it goes, and soon enough, here come the DMs, and like my girlfriend, like, I just worry about like people messaging, and I'm like, let's dive into these messages and look what 99%. Yeah, like it's all dudes, and they're so direct, like they're straight. That's one thing about those guys is they are straight shooters.
Oh yeah,
right
straight.
for it. Right?
For a bunch of guys who aren't straight, they're fucking straight,
Oh, they are to business. No,
right to the business. Well, I had a guy on my Snapchat message me. His name was ML. And every day he'd send me, I called it the Daily D, or DD. He had to be the Daily Dick Pic, the DDP. And I just opened it just to get rid of the notification. I knew what it was, right? I was like, oh, yeah, I don't want to see.
Here we go.
And then one day he stopped, right? And I messaged him like, bro, you good? You okay? Like, I haven't heard from you in a while. It'd been a couple weeks. And a couple weeks later, he starts it up again. He quite literally erected from the dead, started up again. And then I started talking to him, right? I'm like, how you doing, man? What's going on? How you doing, man? And we're just trying to talk. And he's like, dude, send me a picture of you lying in your bed right now. send me a picture of you in your coveralls. And I'm like, man, I'm just talking, you know, like
I'm good, bro.
I'm good.
I'm good.
The last pic I received from him was with him sucking on, let's call it a lollipop, another dude's lollipop. And
You're going, okay.
I took him off. I unfriended him on
Yeah, dude.
Snapchat. I'm like,
There's. I
man,
have a. Do you know who Caleb Francis is on Instagram?
no.
He's kind of a comedian. He's pretty big on there. But I've talked and seen a lot of his like videos. He'll be on stories and like, just stop, guys, sending me pictures. Like he said, it got to the point where it was like he won't open his request because it's just dudes like, here it is, like, and he's like, no one wants to see that. No one's like yummy. Like no one cares, dude.
I made a joke about it, and I'm like, I'm gonna have to look at pictures of my sister to like, you know, in order to, you know, remain hard, right? Like when I can't do it when I'm looking at this guy, right? And it was, the joke was, right? The joke was, well, like, you know, the good news is I'm not gay, but I might be into incest, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But
Oh,
my
boy.
brother, I have a brother. He's 41 and he's gay. I'm like, I should try it with a picture of my brother. See if it's you know which one it is. Is it incest or is it gay? It's gay incest. It could work out.
Door number one or door number two?
Door number one or number two, or is it door number three, which is both? You know.
Yeah. Then you're really in trouble.
Yeah. It was like, oh shit, man. Like, this is awkward. It's hard. What the fuck, you know? Like, shit. My brother. Oh yeah, we talked about that on live with Kylie here. Don't make me get the measuring tape. My brother's got a 12. It's a foot long, right? It's big, and we were joking around about how, like, you know, no woman can actually take a 12-incher, right? Like they're not built like that, and they're like, that's why he's gay, because the men's rectum is like fucking 2 miles long.
Yeah,
right?
It's just impossible for the opposite species. It's not happening.
Yeah, man. So anyway, it's fucking weird how you can make money on the internet.
Yeah, it's very weird. Like the kind of progression of yeah, kind of like we were saying. Some of these people are making millions of dollars just like posting pictures of themselves. It's wild. I think the majority make nothing. Like that's kind of how OF is kind of like a big pyramid scheme. Like these people, you should sign up. You know, you can make passive income. Most of the guys and girls on there are making maybe $200 a month. You know, like
yeah.
But it's wild how people are able to. Luckily, TikTok now, because they're more competitive with like pay per view, like, you know, per 1,000 views you get paid on my videos now if it's a minute long. Have you seen that? Like the new program they rolled out, like the creativity program.
I'm Canadian. So, remember, I
get
screwed over by money.
I'm not sure if it's there, but yeah, pretty much it's a lot more competitive with YouTube now, which kind of ties back to now I can kind of pick and choose with companies a lot better than I was before. Like maybe I've been more desperate for, like, you know, I'm not really wanting to work with this company, but I need $1,000 to pay rent. But now it's like, you know, I can kind of be really selective with, since TikTok is actually paying you properly, which is nice.
You know, I really don't want to do this for another dude, but I need a new dishwasher, you know?
Yeah, like I hope it never gets to that point. Yeah, it's just like, yeah, I need a new refrigerator. I just hope it doesn't come back to my kids or
dude. Oh my God. I was asked today about it again, and so many people have made a good point. What if he uses that? What if he puts it out there? You know, he could destroy you with that, right? And
yeah,
I'm like, could he
pick one? Yeah, like I think it just takes one, kind of like with Drake. Like, you see the whole Drake thing?
I saw it. How did you not see that thing?
Yeah, I did not see it.
I didn't want to see it, but there it was. You know.
Yeah, it's like.
Well, my wife showed me, right, and when she showed me, I didn't want to see a dude's dick, but like my wife showed me. Right. And then like, I'm like, I don't want to, and then it popped up, and then it popped up. Right. But like, it's like a car wreck, right? It's like a train wreck. You know, once you see it, you can't unwatch it. It's like, is that dude, like, is that soft? What the fuck is that, man? Like, what?
Damn, Drake.
Like, it looked pretty thin though, right? Like, is it just me or did it look pretty thin?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Is it like, it's kind of hard to tell, like kind of like optical illusion with cameras and stuff. So like you never know, but
it was pretty grainy.
Pretty impressive regardless.
Yeah. It made me feel inadequate. Yeah, I respect it, but it made me feel inadequate for sure. You know, like
you kind of like you know, like beaten dog walk away after seeing that.
Yeah, my wife's like, I'm like, did you hear about Drake's video? She's like, oh, I heard about it. And I'm like, oh yeah, like, did you watch it? She's
You
like,
didn't see it, did you?
oh, I watched it. I watched it. And I was like, oh shit,
You're like, you still love me,
really?
right?
Yeah, well, yeah, shit, man.
Yeah,
Oh
that's
my god. So they're like, if he uses that and puts it out there, that could destroy you, right? And I'm like, how could this destroy me, right? Like, if he says it's nice and he puts it out there and other people see it, this could be advertising, free advertising. He paid for it, right? It could be free advertising. You know how many other dudes out there would be like, hey, I want some of that. I want some of that video. I want
yeah,
some of them pictures, like
yeah.
come show me.
I think it
Like,
was it Snoop Dogg that I think I was watching. There's a new funny podcast called Nightcap with like Shannon Sharp and Ocho Cinco, and
yeah,
it's called and they were reviewing like Snoop Dogg got offered like 100 million, and all he had to do was take a picture of it.
shut up. I want 100 million to take a picture.
100 million,
That's the level I
and
want to
they're
be.
yeah, and they're like, would you? And they both said no, because I think they're pretty financially like they're retired NFL players with pretty big platforms, so maybe it's a different perspective. But I'm like, you can't ask that question to like an average guy because they're
Is
like
that the
100
Kelsey
billion.
brothers?
Oh no, that's Ocho Cinco. He
Oh,
was the
Ojo.
Bengals receiver, and
Yeah.
then Shannon Sharp played for like the Denver Broncos for.
Ocho Cinco, the guy who changed his name to his jersey number. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
exactly. Yeah, him, the
Yeah,
guy
yeah,
that
yeah.
dances all the time. It's a really funny podcast. Yeah, it's pretty funny, but they dive into a lot of that.
I listen to the Kelsey brothers podcast now. I fucking, hey, shout out to Taylor Swift. She even got me watching football. So,
Yeah, people are wondering like, why are they always showing her? I'm like, because she brought $500,000 in just one season to the
did
Chiefs in the NFL.
did you see the new Cetaphil video? That it's a Super Bowl ad.
Oh yeah,
The
oh
little
yeah,
girl is getting ready for the Super Bowl, watching the Super Bowl with her dad.
yeah.
They're
Look,
getting
look, mom,
ready,
there's
like,
Taylor's boyfriend. He's on the field. Like,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
that's why. Like at the end of the day, like the NFL is all about the guala.
They're marketing geniuses. They've taken the Taylor Swift Travis Kelsey thing and ran with it, man. Like, good for them. I'm a big fan of the NHL. Not really
Yeah,
anymore. The NHL's trash, but like the NHL should take notes really on how to do a celebrity romance, right? Like
yeah.
that's crazy. Most other leagues would have just kind of like, no, shut that out. But they show her every chance they can. Look how many new fans to the game they brought in just by showing Taylor Swift.
Yeah, because ratings were going down. Like people
Yep.
weren't watching anymore. They're kind of like, like, why would I want to watch this? And then all of a sudden there's some sort. It's almost like the Kardashians are, like, ooh, there's a little bit of drama here now. Like there's a little bit of like, what are they talking? Is he going to ask her to marry her at the Super Bowl? So people are kind of tuning in because of that rumor.
Oh
Um,
shit! Can you
so like
imagine? She just wrapped up her shows in Japan here today. She's gonna be at the Super Bowl tomorrow.
so I thought a funny skit this guy on TikTok did where it was like, if the Chiefs lose, like what Taylor Swift will do, it'll be like her walking away to a helicopter, and Travis is like, no, like we're supposed to get married, and she's like, you lost the game, like, and she just like steps on the helicopter and like flies off and is never to be seen again. Like you're
Puts
supposed to
out a
win,
new
and
album.
yeah, like you're supposed to win and ask me to get married, but you lost the game. And it's just like the plan fell apart, and it's just like really dramatic, and she flies off.
Speaking of which, anyone listening right now, the game you just lost it. Remember that in the game, you lost the game. So, what Kylie down there said back to the Drake thing, teenage Degrassi dreams, eh? Like wheelchair Jimmy coming back to put someone else in a wheelchair with that monster, like
Yeah, at a
nobody's
certain
walking
point,
right after that.
it's just like you need to conceal carry. Like it's just like that thing. Like
Well,
at a
he's
certain point,
Canadian.
I mean, geez, it's like I don't even know. I can't comprehend, with that much power.
He is Canadian, right? We don't have open carry. We don't even have the right to fucking bear. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure like they ban anything with rifle, like Black Rifle Coffee. That shit's banned. Bye.
Even the product, really.
When they were banning weapons, they just went with anything with a rifle in it. They actually banned Black Rifle Coffee.
That's pretty huge. They're huge here.
Yeah.
Like, I have a friend,
Yeah.
that buddy, that Caleb Francis actually works for them down in Texas, I believe, and like does a lot of content for him, and Yeah, they actually have, they're like gas stations everywhere here. Like they have espressos and pretty good too. It's a
Hell
shame.
yeah. Hell yeah, man.
Do you guys drink a lot of
Fucking,
energy drinks up there?
oh yeah, like well, especially blue collar workers. Of course, that I don't drink any, right? That's a part of the spending money thing, and my body's a temple. Only McDonald's and pizza for this guy, right? So
Only the good nutrition.
that's right. Only the good stuff. Yeah,
Yeah,
I got
that's what cracks me up
cheese,
about like
meat.
when I was doing masonry. It's funny, like with the energy drink talk. Like I'd have like a White Monster or a Bang Energy when they came out, and like there'd be that guy Brian like smoking a Newport, like those things are terrible for you, right? And you're like, okay, Brian, like I just watched you suck down like 14 Newports today, and like you drink on the job. Like I've worked with so many masons that were like at lunchtime, like, yeah, let me just have like 5 tall boys and then go like somehow try to make your chimney straight.
Shit. Oh fuck. Man. I got I don't want to keep you too much longer.
No, you're good, man.
Oh, okay. Well, fuck. Let's keep going then. I don't fucking care.
Yeah,
I
I got
like
nothing
talking.
else to do.
Me either. So, like, who are like, and I hope you say the right names. Who are some of your favorite blue collar content creators? Like, who do you follow? Who do you watch? Who?
I definitely follow Jesse the Mason.
I love
Um,
Jesse.
yeah, I love Jesse's content. I
That dude's
think
a
that
monster. He's like 6'8".
yeah, he's a tall dude.
He's a
Yeah,
tall dude, man.
yeah, he's a tall dude. And I like his content too because like I can really relate to like because I used to do the job, so I think I can really like I know exactly what he's talking about, so that helps. Who else as far as blue collar? Um, yeah, I'm kind of having like an epiphany. I follow so many accounts. I'm like trying to run through my head who I follow.
Dick Frost, man.
Dick Frosty's my new one. I follow him.
What up?
Yeah, who else do I follow? Who's the guy that does like the? I don't know if he's Canadian or if he's from like Wisconsin, but he does like the You Betcha. Remember, he does like the oh yeah, and like he plays the role of like a foreman. He's pretty good. Southern Dad, I follow Southern Dad. He's done some blue collar stuff. He's pretty.
I
You know who
follow
that is?
Southern Dad. Yep.
Southern
Yep.
Dad. I follow another guy that does like skits with like for like tools. He'll like play the role as like DeWalt or Milwaukee.
Oh, Willis.
Willis, yeah,
Willis. I love that guy, man. He
yeah, he's
followed me
funny.
back a couple months ago, man.
Yeah,
I
he's
love
kind of
that
he's
guy.
kind of like a dad that like he tucks in his shirt and his gut will be hanging out, and he kind of just is like playing the role as what you just like playing the role as like a Milwaukee or DeWalt. He's or like tax season. He has some really funny skits.
Do you follow Grayson McGaha?
I do not know.
Oh my God, Grayson McGaha is like one of my favorite people on the internet, and we become good friends. He was on the podcast. Amazing guy. He's like the self-titled. I think it's self-titled. Sorry, Grayson. The night shift champion of the world because he spent 20 years on night shift. And
20 years.
yeah. And now, just like he's been able to put work aside and just go full-time content creation, right? Which is great for him. He gets
Yeah,
to
good
be
for
a
him.
day walker, right? And kills it with the stickers, kills it with the merch and stuff. Great guy, but he talks a lot about like, and we talked about this, if all you're gonna do is offer money, the companies, if all they're gonna do is offer money, I can make that anywhere. What makes you stand out from the rest of the other companies, right? Like, what are your benefits like? Like, are you gonna have like crew bonding things, like not field trips or anything like that, but like, are we gonna have pizza days? It sounds corny, but you know what I mean. If all you're gonna offer is money, I can make that anywhere. What do you offer that I can't get somewhere else? And that's kind of what the mentality was. We were kind of hitting on it earlier with millennials and between millennials and Gen Z. Gen Z is not lazy. We talked about this a lot. How this new worker coming up, everyone's like, oh, they're lazy. They don't want to work. It's not that they don't want to work. It's not that they're lazy. They watched what the millennials did, right? The millennials learned from their parents, the boomers, who were like, you got to show up every day. You got to clock in early. You got to clock out late.
Yep.
And pull your weight. Be a yes man, like you said earlier. Be a yes man, and the company will take care of you. They don't do that no more, right? They don't.
No, it's no longer. It's like the pipe dream.
Yeah.
I think this new generation is not lazy at all. I think they just need to be more like stimulated.
Right.
I mean, like they're just
Exactly.
they're not willing to do like they know their worth. Like I truly believe too. Also, you got to take the hit. Like when you're younger, you gotta be a little bit of a yes man. You gotta work for the boss and
Yep.
work hard,
Yep.
and maybe work sucks anyways. Like I do things all the time I don't want to do, but like you said, I think people are starting to realize like maybe this job that's paying me with no benefits isn't worth it. Like, and kind of touching on that too, if the job is paying you a bunch of money, but they're not giving you any health care, they're not like you hate your life at the job, you're away from your family way too long. You kind of have to start weighing those things out. It's like, is my life goal just money, or is it like quality of life? There's a difference.
That's what I had Boom Nation. You know Boom Nation, right? Boom
Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
Nation
Yeah.
and the Trench. I had Boom Nation on the podcast a couple weeks ago, and that's what they said. That's what he said. They're putting more value, like our parents, like the Boomers. They put value into let's make as much money as we can, buy a house, and get ahead. Right? We got to get ahead. We got to own our house by this age, and a car, and money in the bank, and they put value on other shit. Whereas kids these days, right, they're putting value on experience. Well, yeah, I want to make the money, but I'm looking at the millennials who are trying to grind it out like their parents did, and it got them nowhere, right? Like, if I'm going to show up every day, clock in at a company, and not get anywhere, what's the point,
Yeah.
right? So, yeah, I'll work for you, but on my terms. I'm coming to work. I'm not going to work the overtime that you want me to work. I'm going to fuck off, and I'm going to go on vacation. And when I can afford it, I'll go on there, and I want to leave. I want to go do this. I want to go do that. My whole life isn't going to be the 9 to 5 or whatever the hell they're working, right? My life is going to be more than just work. And I admire that. I can't do that myself, but I admire that.
Yeah. I think certain people maybe kind of live off that. They need that stimulus of work, like workaholics. Like some people just need that duty, and they like to go to work. I know people that don't have to work, but they just do it because they enjoy it. And that's a whole nother thing too. Yeah, like you said, the point of I'm going to come to work, but I'm going to go on my vacations. I'm not going to kill myself for this company, because I know deep down that you're kind of just trying to hit your profits, or um,
Yeah.
which I think it's important to really be in a company that you really believe in, um, and you're not just there for that paycheck. Like, and at the end of the day, that's kind of what you have to do sometimes. But I think our generation is kind of realizing, like, I can be my own boss, right? I can do this, or I can start my own company, or there's other avenues out there now because of the. I think the internet has a lot of negatives, but also has a lot of positives. With the
100%.
fact, just like this, I wouldn't be on this podcast without the internet, or
I wouldn't
these
have a
community.
podcast without the internet.
Exactly. Yeah, you wouldn't have any extra income. Um, and people build. I mean, like I've never thought that I could build a business off just social media. Or growing up, you think just a business is a physical location. Like it's just like
Here I
that's what you
am
think of
writing
it.
off my phone.
Exactly. Like if you told someone back in 1960, like you're gonna have this device in your hand that can make you money, and like that will be your business. They're like, what are you talking about? Like you got to have a building. You got to have. It's like we live in a very interesting time.
Yep, absolutely. Look what Kylie said down there. My brother said, yeah, money is great, but our parents are in their 60s and have broken bodies, right? Like, and that's another thing, they're trying to up the retirement age to 70. What are you going to do? Retire at 70 and die
Yeah.
a week later?
Well, yeah. Like by the time you start to retire, your body starts to retire.
Oh, well, here's the thing, and I say this a lot. So the average person lives to be 70 to 80 years old, right? At 35 to 40, you're halfway there. I'm half dead now, man. Like halfway. I'm
Yeah.
I'm in my
That's a very
midlife crisis. This
that's kind of a
podcast is my midlife
scary thing to
crisis.
look at it. And I think life goes by faster than people think. And like, there's a lot of it, the quotes and stuff are a little bit cliche, but it's true. Like with, just kind of working your life away and showing up to a job and just kind of pandering about life, like pretty soon you're going to wake up and you're going to be 60 and been like, I never tried anything that I wanted to.
Shit.
Like I think that's 10 times scarier than failing in a business and like going bankrupt is being that person that
Yep.
never tried anything. I'm not saying you have to, everybody wants to be an astronaut or a movie star, but like, what I mean? Like never just sitting there and at night and like talking to your wife or whoever and being like, I want to try this and just like going for it. Like, okay, let's start it. And if it doesn't work out, then that's okay. But I think at the end of your life, if you sit there and you're like, I never tried anything, I just kind of clocked in and did the job that was kind of easy for me and never really challenged myself. Like that's
Yep.
terrifying to me.
Yep. I like my job. Like,
Hmm.
there are certain aspects of it that I wish I could change or were different. And some of that is self-inflicted. Like I know what I have to do if I want to get to the next level of my
Hmm.
job. Like that, the door is open for me, right? Like I just have to
Totally.
walk through it. It's been offered to me many times. I don't know if I want to take it just yet, but I'm definitely thinking about it more. But I like my job. I like what I do, and you know
Yeah.
what? It's helped me create some pretty amazing content, right? Like if it wasn't for where I'm at right now, I wouldn't be making content, right? Because a lot
Yeah.
of companies, when I first started, were like, "Hey, keep that phone away. Don't bring that phone out." We
Yeah.
talked
Yeah.
about this with Jesse last week. Bluecollar has a horrible marketing problem, right? They
Oh
can't
yeah. Like,
market for shit.
no, like you don't even know. The only time you know about a guy is like usually through word of mouth or like the sticker on his truck, and it's like
Yep.
because of
Yep.
that. Like I remember doing masonry like back, and this was not too long ago, like 2019. You know, like if you got your phone out, like even when we were at like the grocery store for like getting our bread, like put your phone away, kid. It's like okay, like you didn't. They didn't really think to be like maybe let's set a phone up with a tripod and just go live, and like people can just watch it. There's people on TikTok with thousands in the chat just like watching someone I get like you sit there and watch a guy build something, you're just like enamored.
Like the fucking trick shot people, right? Like
Oh
how
my
many
gosh,
thousands
yeah,
of
those
people.
ping pong ball people, yeah. Those are ridiculous, yeah. Like hitting off like 10 pans in the kitchen, and like they'll have 12,000 people in there.
Oh yeah, man, he misses every shot, but it's that one people are waiting for. And I'm like, I found myself on the toilet for like an hour one time, was waiting for this guy to finally get that ball in the pot. And I'm like,
You're like,
come
I
on,
gotta get up. Like this is ridiculous.
my legs are hurting, but I can't stop
There's
watching.
people that like that. Do you remember when the NPC lives were going on?
Oh shit, it's rack season. What's up? Oh, what was that now?
Do you remember the NPC lives that were going on where people are like acting like a robot? Did you see those?
No.
There were people like paying their rent supposedly. Like so like an NPC in a video game, like they're very automated and like thank you very
Yeah.
much. Like there's people acting like that for hours and they're like just sitting and like the chat would put like like chocolate. It'd be like, yummy chocolate. And they just sit there for like hours acting like a robot and 12,000 people will be in there gifting them like they're paying their rent through that.
Oh,
I'm just like,
dude, I had a buddy this year make. I don't know if he wants me to talk about it or not. I don't know. I'm not going to say who it was, but they went live a lot and they battled nonstop.
yeah, I've
And
seen
they
those.
made 120 grand US on TikTok live battling.
Yeah, the amount of money on there that is just silly. It's just like I said, like when I started to really get that income from TikTok, I almost didn't believe it. I'm like, oh, okay, this is cool. But like, yeah, it's the amount of people that can get paid on there for not doing anything. Like I'm not like I actually work for a lot of my content. It's not super easy to make sometimes. But there's some
Yeah.
people on there that just like will sit in the live and they will just like pour like syrup on their head for like hours.
I
I'm not
get
even
a
kidding
knife.
you.
All right. Here's
Yeah,
my
there's people.
French
It's
toast, you
mind
know?
blowing. Like people will be on there in that chat watching someone pour honey and syrup on their head for 5 hours, and they're gifting them galaxies and all those like
I'd do that for a galaxy. I'd do it for a lion.
or
Hell.
whatever. I don't even know what that is. Does that give you like $100 or
Galaxy or a lion? A lion gives you $400.
no way?
Yeah, I've gotten two of them in one live once, and it was on times two the gifting, so that was worth twice the amount. Some guy last spring paid me $2,000 to shave my mustache on
And
live.
and he's like, just do it. And you're like, okay,
So the deal was, I want two universes, right?
okay,
Shave, and he said, and this is a great deal. He said, "How about you give me your PayPal?" And I'll send you what it's worth. That way TikTok doesn't steal their cut.
okay.
I'm
He's
like,
like, all
bro,
right,
that's beautiful. And plus,
yeah,
he's also losing his money too, right? So he's like,
yeah, yeah.
I get to give it to the machine. So he sent me $2,000 to shave my mustache. And I'm like, yeah, it'll grow back in a week. I don't give a shit,
The best deal
like,
ever.
dude, best deal
So I didn't know that.
ever.
I didn't know the Galaxy. So that's why I'm wondering why these people are like, just on live, like thirst trapping and they're just making bank, dude. I didn't
Oh,
know that. So there's
it's
a new thing
insane.
they rolled out, subscriptions I've seen on TikTok for
Yep.
live.
Yeah, I've seen
Like
that
I
too.
thought
Yeah.
about doing that. I didn't know. I asked my followers kind of like what they thought. I think it's kind of weird for me personally. Like I feel like it's kind of wrong to make people pay to like see certain videos I put out. Like, have you seen like on Instagram, like people can, like kind of
Yeah.
like your
Like a
subscription.
Patreon.
I like a Patreon. I get
Yeah.
it, but like at the same time, I'm just like, my content's not that level where I'm going to make you
No.
pay to watch. Like, who am I to be like, got to pay to watch my 30-second clip that took me a minute to make? Like, I don't know.
Do you ever see that girl? I can't remember her name on TikTok where she's pregnant right now, but her husband does the green screen. He wears the green suit and she like
Mm,
dances and like freezes in the air and then like will move
mm,
around and do weird, crazy
weird.
stuff. And then she'll do like another video showing you how it was done. And he's a green screen expert. Her videos are phenomenal, man. Like I sit there when I watch her videos, I'll see one of her videos come across my FYP. I'll go down her profile and I'll watch everything I've watched already again. I'm just like, this
I
is
think I know who you're
amazing.
talking. I think it's the guy. Is he the guy that like he'll put like pillows in his pants and act like he has like a really big butt? Have you seen that guy? He
Uh,
does
yes, I have
he
seen
d-
him.
he
Yeah.
does he does green screen stuff too. I don't
It's
know.
not him though.
Okay, it's not
No.
him. So it's just that I've never seen who you're talking about, but yeah,
Yeah.
there's some high level content on like it's surprising. Like you'll literally see like movie level. I had a buddy Nick here in Coeur d'Alene. His name's Nick Peterson on Instagram. He does gym content, but has like a super sick like Sony camera setup, like 4K, like movie like level, and just for his gym videos. And like he's made a living kind of just doing that. And just like, yeah, you go on TikTok, you'll see people's skills. You're like, this took you hours to edit,
Yeah.
or like they're out on a mountain doing some video, and like it inspires you because like I need to get out there and like why can't I set up my phone outside and make a little skit? Like that's not that hard compared to this guy. Just there's a guy that discovered deadlift that like he'll bring a barbell and plates to like on top of a mountain. Have you seen that guy?
No, I've never
No,
seen that guy.
he'll bring like a whole barbell and some plates and like do deadlifts in the middle of like a mountain creek or like in the middle of a spring, like way like on the beach somewhere. Like it's pretty interesting.
That's pretty cool. You know who makes high level videos? Crazy editing? Jack Black.
Yeah, he does some crazy.
Yeah, man. Like he doesn't do his own editing probably, but I mean,
No, no,
like he
but
definitely
yeah, the
pays
level.
someone. He got Jack Black money.
Yeah, that
Tenacious
that level
D
of
money.
the level of like entertainment now just on TikTok alone. Like I was talking to my mom about this. People used to have to go to like talent agencies to get seen, and like
Yeah,
acting school. Now companies go on TikTok and they just scroll like we do and go, "This guy's pretty interesting. Why don't we
dude.
reach out and hit?" Like there's a guy that does food reviews, and Hyundai gave him a brand new car because like he was always doing his food reviews. This guy was like living in his car doing food reviews, and they saw it was a Hyundai, and they're like, "Hey, man, like let's give you a new car and like get you paid." It's like
Shit.
right on, good for that dude. Like it's super cool to see people's lives change. Um, maybe people that are doing fitness stuff and like diet coaching before they're handing out stuff door to door. They're going to the gyms. They're scraping by. They post a couple videos,
Yeah.
and boom, it's like thousands of clientele.
Do you know who Bentelect is on TikTok?
Bentelect, I do know. Yep.
Bentelect was on the podcast here, oh fuck, way back, I think in the teens somewhere. And he was telling me, we were talking about this exact thing. He's like, yo, man, people used to move to LA just to get discovered, right? And he's like, people out here becoming full blown stars in their living room now. Like, look at Call Me Chris. I don't know if you know who Call Me Chris is.
Mm-mm.
She's Canada's. She's Canada's. She belongs to Canada. She's from Vancouver.
Mm.
She was a hairdresser, full blown star in her living room. I think she's worth a few $1,000,000 now.
Yeah, it's wild to think like sometimes it's even wild to think like you probably the same way like you post a video gets millions and millions of views. That's millions of people seeing you like from you in Canada or me in rural North Idaho. It's like, and then you go out and it's kind of like for me going out to dinner or something, and I sit down and like someone's like, "Dude, love your stuff," and you're like, I forgot I even posted that." Like, but you are impacting people, which is again kind of back to that point. You got to be careful with the message you put out. Like if you're just a hateful person, because there are a lot of people on there just
Talk
making
about this a lot.
hateful content. Like, you have sit here and you have made your whole day about like, how can I bring this group of people down or this group of people down? It's like, I don't know. I would not for me, definitely, but yeah, you got to be careful.
We talk about this a lot, man. You get those people, who I didn't even know what doxing was until TikTok. You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck is doxing, right?
Yeah,
And
what's this?
and if let's say you have 100,000 people, it doesn't even have to be 100,000, 10,000 people, not even that, 2,000 people. You don't know the mental health and stability of that many people that follow you. You don't know how far someone that's following you and loves your shit and idolizes you basically is willing to go in the name of you. You know what I mean? So you're like, you make a video about someone, you're like, oh, I don't like this person. This person just did this to me or said this about me, yada, yada, yada. And they put their shit on there. You don't know. So this takes me back to a couple of different conversations, right? You don't know how far they're willing to go for you, if they're willing to get violent, if they're willing to
you can start like uproars and like crazy. Like I didn't even, so one time I had a guy comment on my video like, your videos suck, this is stupid, and I'm like, whatever, it's just another, like, I get those all the time. And before I know it, I clicked on his profile to kind of see who commented. Sometimes I do that. I'm like, who is this guy? I click on it. He's got like 100 followers. All his videos have about 10 views. Before I know it, there's like 20,000 views on all his videos, and all of the comments are repeating what he commented online, like, your video suck, your video suck. And like, people are like, we got you. And I'm like, no, 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 no. I did not tell you to go and do not do that. Like,
nope.
Yeah.
So this goes back to a couple different conversations. There's that mixed in with what King Canuck Benny said to me one time. He said, when people see you on the street, they see you before you see them. They already know who you are. You have no idea who they are, right?
And with him, he gets a lot of hate.
Well, no, this is different. That's not Bentelect. Different person.
I thought you were talking about Benelek. I'm like, that guy, I've seen some videos where people are like straight up mad about his. Like, dang, dude, it's like, you guys are taking this personal.
So Benny said to me, he's like, they see you first. They know who you are. You have no idea who they are. You don't know if you're going to get a hello or a punch in the face. Right?
Yeah.
And that's huge. That's why I try not to piss too many people off when I comment back. And why what you said earlier about when a video goes viral and you get the hate comments, you don't secede to them, right? That I made a video to 2020, 2021 or 2020, I think it was. I made a video and it was like this girl. She made a video and I stitched it, and she said I used her sound. Sorry, I used her sound. It said the hardest part about the pandemic, or the saddest part about the pandemic, is no more free samples at Costco, right? And I was in Costco and I was like kind of sad, dancing in the aisle, and I said the hardest part, and people commented by the hundreds. It was my first viral video. People commented by the hundreds and were like, yeah, because the saddest part wasn't my grandma dying. Right? And I was just like, oh my God. And I commented back and I'm like, sorry about your grandma, right? Sorry, I didn't mean to step on your toes, yada, yada, yada. Now I'd probably say something smart, like I'm sure had nothing to do with the fact that she was 90. I'm sure it wasn't the cancer that killed her instead of, I'd probably say shit like that. But back then it was like, I didn't want to step on any toes. This was all new. I'd never gotten that many comments that quickly before, right? And man, it's just wild. But to another part of this conversation, but it's 12 million people looking at you. It's 10 million people looking at you, right? It doesn't. I'm not in this for the numbers anymore. I'm in it because I enjoy it and it's fun. And if 100 people see the video,
I do not care about like obviously for me, like when a video does well, it's gonna help my income on TikTok and stuff, which is I look at. But when people are like, those my friends or whoever, like, dude, that's crazy, that video got fired. What's it feel like to go? I'm like, I don't know, dude. Like, I just posted. It doesn't feel. Maybe the first time, I'll admit, I was like, whoa. Like, this is crazy, but then you kind of just become accustomed to, like, it's really not that important. Like, if 2,000 people see it and they laugh, that means the same to me as 10 million. Like, kind of back to the point of where people, you don't know how they take your content. Like, I'll post like literally in the caption like a comical skit. Like I posted one about like people that take too long to deadlift, like a skit about like people that are too exuberant before they pull something.
Yeah.
And so many people were like all that for that, and like they thought it was real. And I'm like, did you not read the caption that said like the joke, like POV, or something like that? Like people, there's a lot of people out there that like just completely miss all signs, which
Yep.
makes you like kind of worried. Like, man, even if I say this is a joke, this is a skit, some people will think it's real.
100%. Everybody, man, I can't believe how many people like don't realize yet. I stopped taking things I've seen on TikTok and heard on TikTok or the internet in general as Bible, right? People are spewing shit that they don't believe in for the sake of views and likes. You know what I mean? Like they'll literally say the dumbest thing because they know it'll start an argument in a comment section somewhere, right? And like it's crazy. One time I made a video and I had to drive 45 minutes back to camp because I didn't have a prop that I wanted. I wanted a fruit by the foot, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
I grabbed a fruit by the foot and it actually added the video. So many comments about fruit by the foot were in there. I was like, see, there you go. I ate a Kit Kat bar the wrong way one time, like a regular chocolate bar. That caused some controversy. It didn't matter what I was saying in the video. All they concentrated on was the way I ate that Kit Kat bar, right?
Dude, people will pick you apart. Like,
oh
I've
yeah,
had people comment like on like why is your hair like that, or like why is your mustache doing that? Like you need to trim your mustache. Like I get people, there'll be like a video that's like super funny, and some guy will be like, trim your mustache, it's on your lip, and it's like, dude, like the whole video you're just sitting there like focusing on that one hair.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
like,
Well, that's part of the reason why I have a mustache. Why my character has a mustache. I never had a mustache before Dick Frost was born, right? Like, I literally started it to look as ridiculous as I could, And then at last year, 2 years ago, I trimmed it up by accident. I did it this way. When I trimmed it up, one side was uneven from the other, and I did. Oh, buddy, I left it that way on purpose for months, right? And because that's all people, your mustache is uneven. People would come into my lives. Your mustache is uneven. Why is your mustache uneven? Oh, that's horrible. I'm like, it's doing its job. You're here commenting, buddy. What you don't understand.
You probably get the glasses too, right? Like people are like, what are the glasses you're wearing?
Oh
like,
yeah.
That helps with the code usage too. Like if you get a viral video with the heat waves on, people will be like, like what are those glasses? Sometimes I get like sore fingers from like typing my code. I'll like copy and paste it. Like you're having to like, because people want the sunglasses, and like some of those viral videos, you'll get thousands of comments. I'm like, okay, I can't do it anymore. Like just they'll find it somehow. Like, it's not worth the $7 I'll get.
Yeah. It's funny how my heat wave started, right? Because I was on a rig with a couple rig hands, and rig hands love heat waves or pit vipers. They've been heat waves have been more and more popular, and so Buddy was wearing them, and I'm like, man, what are those things? Those are ugly, right? And he's like, oh, they're heat waves, bro. New glasses, and then he knows I'm on TikTok. He's like, you should wear them in your video. In some of your videos, here you can have this pair. He's like, I got 7 more in the doghouse. I'm like, okay. I put them on. I'm like, these look ridiculous. I put them on. I made some videos. They did really well. About a week and a bit later, I tagged heat waves in them. A week later or so, they messaged me and asked me if I wanted to be an affiliate. I'm like, sure, I guess.
Yeah, dude, it's pretty cool. I love getting the free glasses. That's like my favorite part, is getting like the. You know who the legend is? The concrete guy on TikTok.
Yeah,
he's the guy that swings the hammer with like the left foot.
The way he walks is.
Yeah, like he was with he was wearing blenders for like. I finally commented on his video. I was like, dude, because he made a video that was like, I don't know if you saw, where he's like, like, I hate you blenders. Like, you haven't helped me out at all. Like, you haven't sponsored me. And they're like, whoa. I'm like, dude, you need to get with Heatwave, like, because they're gonna message back, and like. But he was wearing blenders for 3 years in his videos, and they never, like, I don't think sponsored him.
Shit. Legend and I are talking right now. Actually, he's coming on the podcast at some point.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, we're getting Legend on. Him and I are exchanging hats right now. He's sending me one of his. Dude. I'm sending him one of my merch hats.
Oh, dude, he's the king of like starting controversy. He'll be like, that's not how you swing, and he like does that leg kick, and dude, people get in there like, out where you would never last a day on my crew, buddy.
Whoa. I'm a firm believer, and we need to work harder, not smarter, right?
Yeah, and then people think he's serious. And I'm like, it is a character he's playing.
Yeah.
Like, like they don't understand that.
Yeah, well, he made it. Did you see the video where that guy had a trailer and he was cleaning leaves up and he was going back and forth with that big hose? And Legend made a video about it. And he's like, whoa, 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 whoa. And I commented on it. And that's how Legend and I became friends, actually. Well, we're mutuals on the thing. I can't say friends yet. Yeah, but hopefully. I said, yeah, plus, if I get it done that fast, my wife's going to make me do other shit, right? So, I'm gonna take my time with this, right? And
Yeah, nice and slow.
yeah, I love Legend, man. He's good stuff, and I can't wait to get him on. It's so this is a very blue collar podcast that started off very oil field orientated, but as I got into it, and with Dirty Hands Clean Money, right? So many trades are affiliated with them, right? They're with everybody, and when I got affiliated with them, it gave me access to the group chat with everybody in it. Rough Iron, you follow Rough Iron, you know who he is.
Yep.
Yeah, Rough Iron. I was talking to him before that, though. We've been chumming around before that. He was on the podcast back in the early days too, and so it gave me access to all these different trades. So now it's oil field and blue collar, and then if you're not blue collar or oil field, and I like your content and you make good content, I still want to talk. I have people on here all the time that aren't blue collar or oil field, right? And it's man, podcasting's fun, and I just love talking to people. And this is what the whole point of it is, to get like, oh, I'm running into a buddy on the street I haven't seen in a while. I don't do my homework. I don't know what I'm going to talk about. Yeah, I just freestyle it the whole time, and you get the best conversations out of that. But the whole point of it is people don't know us from our 10 to 30-second long videos, 60-second long videos, right? They don't know shit all about us, right? Get you on a podcast for an hour and a half, 2 hours. You'll learn pretty quick about who someone is and what they believe in and yada, 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 right?
Yeah, kind of get them on. It's super simple. I like that aspect of just kind of a conversationalist rather than like, I hate when things are super like okay, I got 10 questions for you, or after that we're done. It's like, I like those that's why I watch certain podcasts, because it's kind of just like, like Joe Rogan or whoever, they just kind of start just yapping at each other.
They're just
like
chilling.
Yeah, and sometimes it gets heated and super funny, or like, sometimes it gets out of hand, but that's the fun in it is
yeah, man.
Yeah, and you can diverse your content. Like, I found that with me is I've made some pretty funny ones about like Carhartt, or like when you get caught like wearing Carhartt by a blue collar guy and you're not on the job, or like take that off, or just making like I made a funny skit about undercover boss, or just not doing just blue collar stuff. Because I think if you do little by little, like, because I kind of got scared when I got bigger, like to like 200,000 or so. I was like, man, I haven't diversed my content, and I was kind of scared to like make any other video outside of what I was doing. But I kind of just trickled it in week by week, and then soon enough, I kind of got people from all over, like, oh, I follow you for like the history skit you made, or so it kind of can help, like I think diversing your content can be beneficial.
Absolutely, buddy. Absolutely. Hey man, I'm gonna like not cut you short or anything like that, but like, I gotta work tomorrow, and I don't know if you gotta
No, you're
work
good, man.
tomorrow or not, but
yeah, I'm getting a little tired. No, it's all good.
I can see you rocking back and forth like you're in a mental institution, like
yeah, get me in bed.
So I usually wrap the podcast up with one last question, and we it's a makes you think a little bit, but I usually wrap it up with one last question, and Mount Rushmore has four of the most influential people in history on the rock, and if you had your own Mount Rushmore, people you look up to or inspire to be, or that inspire you, who would they be and why?
Okay, number one would definitely be my father. Just, I guess, number one and two, in really no particular order, my mom and dad. Just because of the inspiration they've been to me, and kind of the values they kind of instilled in me, just about hard work, and just really pushing me to do what I want to do, and believe in myself. They always wanted to make sure I enjoyed doing it before they never forced me into anything, which I really enjoyed. So definitely my parents for that. Just
they didn't make you work for $50 a day. Gotcha.
Exactly. Like, they definitely made me, like, you got to go mow the lawn, Chris, or like you got to go to work with dad and help him out. But yeah, they definitely just kind of gave me the resources and really supported me to kind of pursue what I wanted to, not something that maybe they, a lot of parents, I think, kind of push kids a certain way because they want, they want their view of their kids that way. Like they want to be viewed from other parents as like, well, my kid went to college, or, my kid did this, but they kind of just didn't really think about that. They just let me kind of do my own thing. So that was super cool. So my parents were, kind of the values they instilled in me. Man, I'm trying to think of the other two. And the third one would be a strong man that I followed for a while. His name's Brian Shaw. You probably, four-time world's strongest man. And just a lot of his content really inspires me. Just kind of a similar story, small town kid, and just kind of was able to make this pretty big business of his, and kind of travel the world, and just really got a lot of values out of him. Let's see, my fourth one. That's a good question. Makes you really think about like what's important to you. And I think the fourth one would be my girlfriend. Just
Woo.
The fourth one would be Gabrielle, my girlfriend. She's an attorney at 24, so it's pretty impressive.
Good for her.
So she's someone that's definitely pushed me in a lot of ways, made me better, made me a better man. Like a lot of bad habits that I had to cut out. So she's definitely pushed me to be better, and that's hard at first. Like you definitely want to fight it. I'm sure you've been there with your wife or whoever. So
been with my wife since I was 17, man. Tried locking down a boy, really, who's a teenager, and no direction in life, no real path, and it was wild. And I don't know why she stayed. I don't know how she stayed, but that woman's got some patience, and she's a saint, dude. And my wife is on my rock too. She has to be.
Definitely patience is a huge one. Like sometimes you really self-reflect, you're like, wow, it takes a lot to deal with me. And she'd definitely be up there. And I guess kind of diverting back, I'd put my grandma Bonnie on there. She was someone that kind of helped raise me. I spent a lot of time with my grandma. She recently passed this year, a couple months ago. It was pretty hard, but yeah, she was definitely someone that instilled, taught me how to love people through thick and thin, and kind of be very kind and giving. Just one of those ladies that everybody loved her, was very forgiving, and just never was negative. So she just kind of taught me to really be positive, even with all the health issues she went through, whether that was, relationship kind of maybe with my grandpa, or how that kind of fell apart. She always was just positive and kind of never let people see that when she was upset. So I guess, you could see when she was upset, but you know what I mean? Like she just kind of was always so optimistic towards life. So that was probably definitely number one would be my grandma Bonnie.
Let's pour one out for Grandma Bonnie, man.
Yeah, for Grandma Bonnie.
Here you go, Grandma Bonnie. Dude, that's awesome. I love that rock, dude. You can really tell a lot about a person by the people they like to surround themselves with, or they look up to and admire, right? So that's huge, and that's why I do it, right? Another thing of like a lot of people, it started off, a lot of content creators, and some of them aren't very big content creators, or not really content creators at all, just blue collar workers. But a lot of content creators, like I said, you really don't know anything about them, right? And so this is great. Why do you make content? Why? What makes you roll? What makes your engine done like purr? And
yeah, it's a really good question. Yeah, that really made me think pretty hard. Like wow, that's a good one, because sometimes you don't stop and smell the roses of like why you are where you are, and who makes you who you are. Like and appreciate people. Like, are you appreciative of your wife or girlfriend or your parents for where they got you? Because I think people tend to be glass half empty. Like, well, she's always saying this, or this, but they never really sit and think like, wow, she keeps everything so like tidy around here, and really keeps me up on that, So
Amen.
That's a good question.
Yep. Absolutely, man. And hey, I appreciate you coming on, man. I appreciate you coming on. And
thank you for having me.
Doc, man, I knew from seeing your videos around the internet, like even months ago or even last year when this podcast started, I knew like I got to get that guy on, right? I got to get this guy on at some point. And then I saw you on Instagram, right? And it was like, all right, this is the start. Let's send that.
Why not? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, man. I really appreciate you coming on, man. This is my baby, so we have a lot of fun with it. We it's my outlet, really. The whole social media thing is my outlet along with this. But I work over 100 hours a week, right? So like it's kind of like, man, I gotta do something other than work at some point in time,
Yeah,
right?
man.
So
I
like,
really hope to see it grow, and yeah, and starting, and you seems like you put out quite a bit already, so and it's already grown quite a bit. So
well, this will be like episode 59, I believe. So I put
dang,
one out.
man,
I put one out a week, so we're over a year into it. Yeah.
that's awesome. Yeah, that's just keep churning episode by episode, and yeah, hope in a year it'll be interesting to get back on and see kind of how much it's flourished.
I'm trying to get Mike Rowe on right now.
Oh, dude, that would
The,
be cool. Yeah,
yeah,
that
the
would give
Dirty
it some
Jobs guy.
traction. Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, if
man.
you just keep sending DMs, I mean, it's like,
Oh, I
why
tag them
not?
all
I
the
mean,
time. On Threads, I
oh, I
tag
bet.
them. On Instagram, I put out. On TikTok, I put out. On Facebook, man, I'm I'm hoping if he never comes on, never says yes, it's like not that big of a deal, right? I'll find someone else, right?
Yeah,
But I want that guy on. That's a guy like Bluecollar podcast. Like, who's more blue collar than Mike Rowe, right?
yeah, he's like the OG. Like I remember being a kid, just like, what? It's a dirty job, and someone's got, like the
Yeah,
song.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. It's like
yeah, man.
that was a staple in every household.
Yeah, man. Fuck yeah. Well, buddy, thanks. It's been a
Yeah, thank
blast,
you
man.
very
It's been a
much.
lot
Yeah,
been
that
a
was a
lot of
lot of fun.
fun. Yeah, man. Yeah, I can't wait for it to drop now in like 2 weeks, I guess, or a week and a half. I think it
Oh,
might be a
sweet.
week and a half. Yeah,
Right on. Yeah, I'm
yeah,
excited,
buddy.
man.
Hell yeah. Hey, Christopher, Topher
Yep,
Olive,
yep.
top top hero live.
Top Hero Live. Yep.
Stay frosty.
You as well, man. Thank you very much.